this year, obviously. Notre Dame has already won a national championship. Ohio State has already won a national championship. There's not going to be a new winner of a national championship this year. My alma mater is the last new team that won it for the first time. At the NFL level, as you heard me say, 38% have not won it. Here are the teams that have not won the Super Bowl.
We interrupt this regularly scheduled program to bring you this special presentation from Wildcats Radio 1290. Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball begins with Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. The pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're counting down to tip-off of Arizona basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
To Vasar, pump fake the three, spin move, pumps, goes in the lane, left hand over the rim. No good, but there's Carter Bryant to put in the follow. Love out to Vasar and to Bryant. Carter going to drive, throw it underneath for Vasar, who slams it home. A rim rattler for Henry. Del Urso will put it up, around and off, no good. Awaka rips away the offensive rebound, lost the ball, got it back, goes up and scores it. Oh, tough move to Tobe Awaka. Lewis now throws it to Love, step back, open look at the three. It is good. Caleb Love. Lewis standing dribble. Drives on small, behind the back move, jumper up from the free throw line, good again. KJ Lewis, over 20 points for the first time in his college career. An impressive performance again on the road for the Wildcats. 2-0 on the road, 3-0 in conference play, tied for first place. Final score here in Morgantown. Arizona 75, West Virginia 56.
All right, easy with them cannons down there in Morgantown, West Virginia, or whatever the muskets that they fire off during the end and the halftime of those games. My goodness, if I was there for the first time, I might be a little startled by that.
I bet you Arizona fans ducked, but everybody else was pretty used to it by that point.
Exactly. Some folks that were not startled by that at all were your Arizona Wildcats, who went out onto the road and came back with a pair of victories off the Appalachian Trail to Cincinnati and West Virginia. It is basketball night once again here in Arizona. The Wildcats back home to open up a 2-game Big 12 homestand. The Central Florida Knights are in town for an 8 o'clock tip-off tonight here at McHale Center. Welcome to Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. I am your host, David Kelly. Got my guys with me, the captain, Kelvin Efon, class of 1998. J.W. Madden also in the house with you as well. We have got you for the next 3 hours getting you set tonight for Arizona basketball on a chilly desert Saturday. Let's start you out with what to expect tonight here with us.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we'll take a look back at the win over West Virginia. The Mountaineers dug themselves a hole, fought back, but Arizona held them off for the win in Morgantown. We'll take our first look at Central Florida. They've been up and down through their first 3 games in conference play, but they come in here with a 2-1 record. We'll shine a spotlight on a cat today. Liam Lloyd, the son of the head coach. We'll hear from him in an interview he did with Ryan Hansen from the Arizona Sports Enterprises Radio Network. Scouting report, Mark Daniels, the voice of the UCF Knights, will join us. Your best bets tonight over at the Desert Diamond Casino Sports Book. Arizona, a 16.5-point favorite on the big board. Over under tonight sitting at 154.5. All of that and more coming up for you tonight as we get you set for the Wildcats and the Knights. A big win, though, on Tuesday night in Morgantown. Again, it was a game the Wildcats had a 17-point lead, and West Virginia would claw their way back to within single digits, mid-single digits in that ball game, got back to within 6 of the Arizona Wildcats. Tommy Lloyd on what he told his club when their lead had started to whittle down.
Breathe, relax. We're up 6. And, it's the old adage, if you told me with however much time left to go in the game, we're up 6 in the ball and a timeout, I'd probably feel pretty good. So let's not get emotional. Let's get tactical and figure out what we got to do. And so the guys did a great job of that. And these guys, they really managed it on their own for the most part. I didn't give them, a ton of crazy structure down the stretch. And, JB was kind of calling the plays. KJ ended up being the point guard a few possessions. And these guys, they made great decisions.
And actually, it went down to 5 points, did that lead for Arizona, and then within a matter of 2 minutes, it got down to 5 with about 13 and a half minutes to go, and with a matter of 2 minutes, it was back up to 12 was Arizona's lead, and they would hold on after that. Anthony Del Orso got hurt, falling into some chairs on the sideline. Where were those people at, by the way? I mean, it's like you get up to go to get a drink or something, and our guy goes crashing into some chairs. It would have been easier maybe if there had been some bodies there to kind of cushion his fall. But he goes in the locker room, comes out, hits a big three-pointer off a nice assist by Jaden Bradley. Then Jaden sets up KJ Lewis for a layup. Then KJ sets up Carter Bryant for a layup. KJ Lewis and Jaden Bradley, big with the ball, getting it into the right hands as the Wildcats lengthened that lead back out. And then Henry Vasar for the second time in 2 games, taking somebody to the hole. Catch you a body, Hen, as we were talking about the other day. We've seen him now twice take somebody to the hole. And that lead was quickly back up to 12. And I think, guys, one thing we have learned, at least in those first 2 road games, is teams are going to make runs in this league. You might get that early lead like the Wildcats did on that road trip, but be prepared for a run and how you're going to handle that run.
Yeah, I think in this conference you have to understand these teams. And we're just getting in this conference, but one thing that we're going to understand as fans watching it is that these teams been playing the Kansases and the Baylors of the world for a while now. They're used to being, at a deficit and clawing back and fighting back. It's just a part of being in conferences like this. A lot of times, when a coach really has his team and when you're really coaching your team, you can get your guys to make a comeback to get you to put you in a situation to be able to win the game. And that's what you're seeing with some of these teams. Luckily, they've been a little injured and had a couple guys out and they weren't able to, to come back on us. But, we're going to have to make sure that we understand playing in this conference, man, you can't let up at all. And as Coach said, things are going to happen. People are going to come back. It's called runs. But you got to stop it and finish the game.
Yeah, I mean, the Big 12's had that rep for being the best basketball conference the last few years. It might be the SEC this year, if we're honest. However, you don't get that reputation because you've got UCLA and Arizona at 17-1 and 15-3 at the top, and everybody else around 8-8. You get that reputation because, Kelvin, you've got like 8 or 9, 10 teams that could beat you on any given night. So those days of Arizona fans expecting to get the 30-point wins against the lower teams in the conference, those days are over. I mean, anybody in this league, you got to take every single team seriously. And to me, that's great because that means that once you get to March, right, you haven't had any kind of, we're just sleepwalking through this game. You got to stay focused every single possession, or else, DK, a team can make a 10-0 run on you, a 9-0 run. We've seen that every single time Arizona's been out to a big lead. As you said, though, huge response from them on the road against West Virginia, a team they already lost to this year. After that run, you could have seen West Virginia maybe cut that lead, maybe even take the lead, tie it. It went from 5 back up to 12 within a couple minutes, like you said.
And I'll say this. The coach said something there. He said that he let the guys just play it out. And the reason why he was able to do that, guys, is because they've been in that situation before and they've made the corrections on how to attack and how to stay aggressive. If you look at the stats, they were getting downhill and getting to the bucket, really taking advantage of Jaden Bradley and KJ Lewis of the defense sagging off of them and really loading up on Caleb.
I mean, they had a 9-point lead over UCLA with 10 to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's hear from the head coach. I'm sorry, let's hear from KJ Lewis, who had 21 points and 4 assists in that game on Tuesday night in Morgantown.
Definitely we had that chip on our shoulder. We knew coming in from, the past game that we played them in the Bahamas, we knew how gritty they were and how tough of a team they were, but we knew we were a different team. Credit to the coaching staff. They prepared us all week, and we're just a different team. We understand a little bit now about more spacing, and, we're connecting a little bit more. So I think it's just a stepping stone into, our full potential.
A loss to West Virginia in the Bahamas by 7 points in overtime. A win in Morgantown by 19 points for Arizona. What was the difference in those 2 ball games?
I mean, we didn't play with a gritty mindset. Down the stretch in the Bahamas, they got some key rebounds, and that was the emphasis going into this game, making sure we boxed out and got big-time rebounds when it mattered, and, controlled the pace and, controlled the paint ultimately.
I mean, the best thing we did scouting is the guy that made 8 threes and got fouled on one didn't play. Like let's be honest. I mean, he's a heck of a player, so he didn't play, and he's a great player, and he hit some threes that game, and I was just like, we made a lot of mistakes. We did. We made a lot of mistakes, and but you know what? You can make mistakes, and if you still make a 30-footer, that's a hell of a play, and he did. So I tip my hat to them, and I know that's a tough loss. I don't know what his injury status is, but obviously they're a more dangerous team with him in the lineup.
Yeah, that kid he's talking about is the coach's son at West Virginia, Tucker DeVries, who basically was just bombing balls from about 30 feet away down in the Bahamas. I don't know if that air was thinner down there, but boy, was he knocking him down. And obviously he's been dealing with an injury over the course of I think he played 1 game after that and has not played a game since then. And still a lot of talks about what his future is going to be. But definitely, guys, when you don't have a sharpshooter out there like that, it changes the dynamic of the team that you're playing.
He went 8 for 12 in that game from 3.
Yeah.
Had 6 assists. And Kelvin Ifon talked at the postgame about how, some of the, maybe I would say 6 of those 8 shots were well contested. You got to tip your cap, right, Kelvin? I mean, some of those shots that the Tucker made in that game, coach's son, were just well contested 25-footers. You got to tip your cap.
Yeah, and I believe, and I said it out the game we just beat them as well. I was like, man, it probably would have been, definitely would have been a different game if he was there. And what that means as a coach, you're telling your guys to pump your brakes a little bit. We're not all the way there yet. But we're learning and we're growing, and so now we have an opportunity to go into the next game against UCF, where you really can't have a letdown, because now this is where this conference gets tricky. Right, where you think that you're looking at a name that you're not familiar with, and that team can knock you off.
It's obviously a team in West Virginia, and we talked about it, that is probably, and I said I thought they're the surprise of this league right now with the turnover that they had, new coaching staff coming in, all those new bodies. They go in and they obviously beat a ranked Arizona team to start the season. That was the day after they had knocked off a ranked Gonzaga team, and then they go to Fog Allen and beat a top 10 team in the country. Incredible what they have done to this point, and that was not lost at all on the head coach, Tommy Lloyd.
Guys, he's done an amazing job in his first year, and I know they've had some crazy injuries, and he's dealt with it. And to be honest with you, their start's been pretty magical. I mean, you win some of these close games. You beat an Arizona, you beat a Gonzaga. Who else on that list they beat? Kansas. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, if I was that guy's agent, I'd have 2 more years in that contract right now. So they've got off to an amazing start, and we knew we had to come out and be steady today because we knew they were playing with a lot of confidence. And we had a little more time to prepare this time. Last time we played them was the, 3rd day of 3 games for both teams. And they found a way to come out on top. So we'll feel good about that.
By the way, guys, they got the Buffs followed by at Houston, and then Iowa State coming to their building. So it's not going to be getting any easier for the Mountaineers.
No, that's the game. That's the lone conference game tomorrow. Number 21, West Virginia, will be at Colorado. Colorado still winless in this new Big 12 and coming off a loss to this Central Florida team that the Arizona Wildcats will face tonight. That was a game on Wednesday night. They played the next night after Arizona played down in Morgantown, so one less day to prepare. But that was a game in which Colorado got off to an early lead. Slow start for the shooting for the Knights as they missed their first 10 shots in that game, but were able to rally back and get the 1-point win. So they come in here with a little bit of good feeling after a 51-point loss last weekend to the Kansas Jayhawks at home. So, again, it's been an interesting league thus far, this new Big 12 that we are in. But the good news is your Arizona Wildcats, like they did for so many years, being at the top of the Pac-12, are sitting right now at the top or near the top of the Big 12. They are one of just 3 teams that has yet to lose a game in conference play. The Iowa State Cyclones, as everyone expected, probably the leaders in the clubhouse. They've won 11 games in a row as Iowa State, and they are 4-0 in conference play. The Houston Cougars, the other top team right now, at 3-0 in conference play. They have won 7 games in a row, and the Wildcats come into tonight with a 5-game winning streak. Speaking of the Iowa State Cyclones, their ladies team played here today in Tucson and put a whooping on the Arizona Wildcats over at McHale Center in the first half of this doubleheader today, as the ladies Cyclones beat the Wildcats 79-58 today. So Arizona swept on this homestand, swept by 2 pretty good conference ball clubs, though, in Baylor and Iowa State. Iowa State, I know they went to the Sweet 16. They might, if I'm mistaken, gotten to the Elite 8 last year with a stacked ball club. Their star player, Addie Crooks, today, 11 points in 30 minutes. They for the most part, held her down, but it was off the bench. Sydney Harris, who knocked down 5 of 9 shots from behind the arc to finish with 24 points and 7 rebounds. That was the difference, as Iowa State led all the way in that contest today at McHale Center in winning 79-58.
They lost in overtime to Cameron Brink.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah, and that was was that the Elite 8?
I think it was the second round, it says here.
Second round.
Yeah, last year's second round for the Cyclones. Yeah.
All right. I thought they had maybe gotten to the Sweet 16, but possibly not. All right, so we will have some highlights, and we'll hear from Medea Barnes coming up a little bit later from that game, as well as we get you set for Arizona men taking on Central Florida tonight at McHale Center. We'll get our first break in, come back and start to take a look at the Knights. It's Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day, along with Kelvin E. Font and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rocking K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Looking for unlimited gameplay all season long? Dave & Buster's is introducing the all-new Winter Season Pass. You can pick your perfect pass and play like a Dave & Buster's VIP with unlimited access to over 140 games and deals on sips and bites. Sign up now and take advantage of this incredible deal now through February 28th. Don't forget to stop in Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch specials and grab the all-new Winter Season Pass. There's nowhere better to eat, drink, play, and watch than Dave & Buster's, the best place outside the stadium to see the games this football season.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
The cold Arizona nights are here. Is your furnace ready? For just $59, Right Way is offering a complete system tune-up, ensuring your furnace runs efficiently to keep your home comfortable all season long. Routine maintenance is key to avoiding costly breakdowns. And with over 9,000 5-star Google reviews, you can trust Right Way to get the job done right. Plus, we'll include a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Call Right Way today at 520-640-2665 or visit us at rightwayac.com for your $59 complete system tune-up.
Ever get the urge to get out and see this beautiful state up close and personal? Then get on down to RV City in Huachuca City and camper up with a newer used RV fifth wheel travel trailer or pop-up. And we guarantee the short drive will be well worth it because we'll beat any deal anywhere. And we guarantee it. Bring us your best deal and watch us knock it out of the park. Our small city low overhead pricing is why we can meet or beat any deal you'll find in Tucson. Low overhead pricing, big city selection. That's always the ball game at RV City in Huachuca City.
You want to protect her. You'll give anything to make sure nothing harms her. Every minute together makes unforgettable memories. Except that time you parked her under that tree and...
Oh, come on, man. Really?
Sorry, we'll never speak of it again. But remember who came to her rescue? Recon Auto Detailing. Arizona's premier auto detailing company comes directly to you. We'll make your masterpiece shine like it should, and with a monthly maintenance package, we'll keep it that way. Recon Auto Detailing. Online at recondetail.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Drives to the left elbow, pump fake to Townsend straight away. His jumper is up and good for 3. There's your first Lexus of Tucson Charity 3, courtesy of Trey Townsend. His 4th made 3 of the season.
You know, Trey Townsend's so valuable for this team and what he does front of the paint. So anytime he hits a 3, that's just a bonus for the Cats.
Well, let's see if he maybe takes a few more of those 3. We'll ask Tommy Lloyd about that coming up a little bit later. DK with TL this week. We'll see what the head coach has to say about maybe a little bit more aggressive shooting from Trey Townsend this season. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, getting you set for the Wildcats and Central Florida here. Let's start to dive into what's going on with the Knights.
Our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game is brought to you by the Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
All right, Central Florida, we mentioned, they've kind of had an up and down conference season thus far. They went on the road and won at Texas Tech to start things off, won by 4 points, but then came home and got blown out by number 7 Kansas, 99-48. That was last Sunday. Turned that around. They played Sunday, Wednesday in this new Big 12 format. Cats last week played Saturday, Tuesday. And turned that around Wednesday for a 1-point home win over the Colorado Buffaloes.
Break that down really quick.
75-74.
So they're 2-1 in conference.
Yeah.
With a negative 46 scoring margin.
Yeah.
They won by 4 and won by 1 and lost by 51.
Yeah. Exactly. Johnny Dawkins, what was the difference between your team losing to Kansas by 51, winning by 1 over Colorado?
I thought we got after guys, we pressed, we made a 94-foot game. I thought we made more connecting plays, not just offensively but defensively from the standpoint of what we were trying to execute against them. I thought we did some good things. Where, of course, the other night, I didn't think we did very many things well. And so, to be quite frank, and I give Kansas credit for that. I thought they came in. They were really focused on what they were trying to do, and we have to grow and get better from that experience. The lesson we learn is we got to compete at a much higher level to be successful. And Kansas came in and they raised that level, and we have to be able to match that. And we didn't match it that night. And so, you tip your hat. It's not nothing that you ever want to see happen, but you grow from it, you move, and you get better. And that's what I wanted our players to do. And I tried to explain to our guys, they all count the same, 1 win and 1 loss. So it's a 1 loss, and so now we have to rebound, we have to regroup and respond so that 1 loss doesn't become 2. And that's what we tried to focus on.
Interesting. We'll hear from Tommy Lloyd here in a moment. Tommy was asked basically the same type of question between how this team looks versus their loss versus their win over Colorado. This is the first time that these two programs have ever played in basketball, Central Florida and Arizona. But, of course, Johnny Dawkins, we know him. He was in the Pac-12 for years at Stanford. He has lost 13 straight times to the Arizona Wildcats as a head coach, has Johnny Dawkins, going back to, and you'll remember that long win streak that the Wildcats had over Stanford that I think was just snapped a few years ago under Jared Haas. But much of that was led by Johnny Dawkins during those years. Jordan Ivey came up big for the Knights in that win over Colorado. I mentioned that they started that game very slowly, but Jordan talking about his team bouncing back after that 51-point loss to the Jayhawks.
When you get beat like that, you always got to come out with a lot more energy and be more physical. Kansas game showed us we was weak. Thank you to Kansas. We knew we just needed to bring energy. Playing fast is what get us going, so we need to speed them up, and that's what we did.
What were some of the things you guys saw watching that film that you emphasized this game?
Just our box out. It wasn't just our big guys. It's the ball pressure that we have to put on the guards to make that pass. So I think the guards did a good job of doing that, and I know Mustafa did a great job of defending in the paint today.
Yeah, this is a team that really hangs their hat on defense, and that was kind of what Johnny Dawkins' teams were at Stanford, guys, teams that really defended at that end of the floor.
Yeah, a lot of transfers, the portal situation, a lot of athletes, so it takes them time to end up gelling or whatnot. So it's one of those teams a lot of times that you don't really know what you really have till midway through the season, and then they go on a run. But the talent is there. And so, to me, they still dangerous. It's one of those games that what you call them, the in between the games, the little sleeper game. You just you just got to watch out for these teams because you can wake them up. And the reality, I keep hearing them talking about the difference between the game that they won versus Kansas and Colorado, right? The difference is the teams, right? I mean, the difference is the teams. Like,
true.
Y'all didn't necessarily get better, just barely beating Colorado. I mean, it feels good for the soul, right? But I do think they're a dangerous team, and you have to watch teams like this.
There's one connection between these opponents we haven't made yet, which is that West Virginia went into Lawrence and beat the Jayhawks And then the next game out, they played UCF. So what happened was you had a really angry Jayhawk team coming in. They just lost on their home court.
Yeah.
Kansas does not lose on their home court unless it's to a maybe top 5 team. They lost to West Virginia, came back, and just took it out on UCF.
Jordan Ivy Curry, JIC, so his nickname is Juice. Johnny Dawkins talking about Juice getting hot. They started that game missing their first 10 shots, and then Juice made 3 in a row to ignite the offense.
And that's what he's done his whole career. I mean, he can spark you. He sees one go in, it could be 2, it could be 10. He can get going really fast, and I thought he did that for us, and that got us back, going, and kind of, I think, opened the basket up not just for him, but for some of our other players as well. So it was key. But you need that from your veterans. He's one of our veterans, so we lean on him to make those type of plays for us, and I thought he stepped up and did it.
Coach, staying with Jordan, I mean, he kind of was able to step up tonight, unlike other nights. What was the difference for him tonight, do you think?
I thought his mindset was really good. I thought he came in, in attack mode. He was aggressive, and that's what we need him to be. The ball's not going to always go in, but you still have to have a certain mindset every time you step on the floor. And you have to understand, he's adjusting to playing in this conference. This is his first go-around. Just like it is for everybody on the court pretty much except for DJ. He's the only guy that's really playing, I think, extended minutes that has been in this league. So these guys are all learning game by game the level of intensity, the level of physicality, the different guys they're guarding and different guys that are guarding them. And so it's a process of getting comfortable in that situation. I think the more games he gets under his belt, he's going to get better and better for us because he's a terrific player.
All right, before we hear from Tommy Lloyd on this Central Florida team, let's pause 10 seconds here for station identification. You're listening to Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day before the Wildcats and the Knights on Wildcats Radio 1290.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats Athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
I'm David Kelly. I am joined by Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, Wildcats and Central Florida tonight at McHale Center with an 8 o'clock tip-off. Wildcats come into this game having won 5 in a row, looking to stretch that winning streak to 6 and possibly jump back into the top 25 come Monday. We'll have to wait and see. What do the Knights do well? Well, they shoot the 3. They are 29th in the country right now in three-point shooting percentage. Actually, Darius Johnson, I should say, is 29th in the country in three-point shooting percentage. He's averaging 44% from behind the arc. He is also one of the best defenders in terms of steals in the country. He has 5 per ball game this season. We'll talk a little bit about him more coming up later. Tommy Lloyd was asked basically the same question that Johnny Dawkins was asked. What was the difference between UCF, the team that lost to Kansas, and UCF, the team that beat Colorado?
I think the one thing that you have to account for, as a coach, and when you've been doing this for a minute, I think you have a lot of respect for your opponents. You understand there's going to be a response. And you just do a simple, you kind of reverse engineer it a little bit. So UCF goes into Texas Tech, plays really well, and gets a dub. Kansas plays West Virginia at home and didn't play great all game and didn't play very good at all in the first half, and I don't think that's news breaking. So Kansas makes the run that they do in Allen Fieldhouse, comes back, but West Virginia holds them off. How do you think those next few practices at Kansas were? And, UCF wins, probably feeling pretty good about themselves. So I think you just always have to account for that response. I mean, Kansas came out in that UCF game and played very spirited, great team basketball, great physical defense, and kind of were able to jump them a little bit and just got on the right side of it. So, I would assume that UCF went back for the Colorado game and had some spirited practices, and there was a response, and they fought, and they got down 10, and then ended up finding a way and pulling it out. So, my assumption is, they learned a lesson in that Kansas game, and they're going to come in here hungry with an opportunity to go 3-1 to start out the Big 12, which is a great accomplishment. So, I'm expecting to see the team that played Texas Tech and the team that played Colorado.
Well, and that Texas Tech win, guys, was on the road. So they're not a team that's coming in here, thinking like we can't win on the road, because we've already done that once this season and in a pretty hostile environment that is Texas Tech. So, again, this is a game that the Wildcats are going to have to be on their own. They're heavily favored, 16.5 points. I think that's the most in a conference game so far. For the Wildcats that they've been favored, but you still got to go out and get it done against a team, like I said, that's been on the road in this conference and won.
Yeah, man. And, the one problem that we've had is with teams that are tough defensively, that know how to get back and have veteran guys that understand how to get back and take away the easy buckets, and a team that maybe know how to adjust and lock in man-to-man. I mean, we've been facing defenses, I think, lately, especially the last 2 games, that have been really loaded up to stop Caleb. And it has worked out. Other guys have stepped up. I think now, as I said before, these other guys got their name on the scouting reports. So I think the defenses are going to really step up on those guys. And now that's when we're going to see, what we really have, because our guys are going to have to figure out a way to win with the defenses concentrating on them as well.
Well, you know what they haven't seen in a minute, guys? Zone. I mean, we know what Coach Lloyd's system is about, running free, back cuts, ball screens, all that stuff. That doesn't really necessarily, I know, Kelvin, you love running sets against zone, but they've struggled versus zone this year and previous years. So I know Johnny Dawkins is not necessarily a zone guy. He's a Coach K prodigy. They're always tough man-to-man guys. I know he does some trapping and stuff, but I would not be surprised in the near future. People are sick of Arizona getting 25-plus assists. How do you stop that? 2-3 zone.
And I think also, I'm surprised people have been playing up on Jaden Bradley and up on KJ Lewis, right? That would be not drop coverage, but definitely back off. And because you're giving up back doors, you go back and look at what's making those guys successful. It's the back doors that they're cutting and those guys getting to the rim. I just can't believe that teams haven't dropped off those guys and forced them into being shooters. Now, whether or not they settle, that's the different question that we'll have to find out.
And JB's proven to be a great catch and shoot, 3-point shooter. But have you seen him shoot a lot of threes off the dribble? I mean, that's not necessarily huge. When he puts the ball down, he's trying to get mid-range. He's trying to get right to the cup. He's trying to find his teammates. So, yeah, great point. I mean, KJ hasn't proven himself to be a knockdown 3-point shooter if you leave him out there, but he has proven he can get past his man and get right to the cup. So, yeah, we'll see how the defense shade those two guys, especially great point by Kelvin as always, because what they're seeing on film right now, the opponent's scouting, is not Caleb putting up 35. Right. They're seeing the other guys, because all the extra defensive attention to Caleb Love, those other guys are getting off. Now you got to account for them.
Arizona and Central Florida at McHale Center tonight. Tip-off coming up at 8 o'clock.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
And don't forget, Window Depot also sponsors Arizona's top rebounding performance every night. It's the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds. Might be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. We will tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight on the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day post-game show. Much more straight ahead. Spotlight on a cat. We'll shine one next. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Ring in the savings at the Marion Bright sales event at Royal Buick GMC. Jingle all the way with huge savings. Save $14,000 off a new 24 Buick Enclave, or go big and save $16,000 off a new 24 GMC Sierra 1500 Pro Crew Cab, or lease it for $375 a month for 24 months with zero due at signing and all taxes and fees included. Plus, business owners can save even more with federal tax deductions on qualifying vehicles. See dealer for details. B33506, G8449. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Leases excluded. Lease mileage charge of 20 cents per mile over 10,000 per year. Offers end 1/2/25. Get into a new Buick or GMC this season with nothing out of pocket. The Marion Bright sales event at Royal Buick GMC in the Tucson Auto Mall or RoyalTucson.com.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Was Liam that kid who had the mini basketball right away? I mean, did you have him going in basketball?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Ball in the hand and, doing massage techniques to try to work on the elbow flexibility, elbow and wrist flexibility, for follow-throughs and stuff like that. Yeah, 100%.
Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
That is the head coach of your Arizona Wildcats talking about his son, Liam Lloyd, 6'5", 190-pound, fifth-year transfer guard into the program. Liam started his college career at Grand Canyon, played there as a freshman and a sophomore, appearing in 30 games off the bench, scoring 44 total points. Then he went to Northern Arizona for a couple of years, played his junior and senior years there, 68 games started, 57 of those games, scored 400 points in his 2 years at NAU, averaging 6 while grabbing 3 rebounds and dishing out 3 assists. He once scored 46 points in a high school game his senior year at Gonzaga Prep. I didn't know that Gonzaga had a prep school, but there you go, in Spokane. I guess is that the big? Do you guys know anything about the high schools in Spokane?
In Spokane,
is that
no.
like the main high school there or not? We don't know.
No.
You were going to say something?
No, I wasn't. No, not sure of that.
Tell us everything you know about Gonzaga
Yeah,
Prep.
exactly.
I know
Give
about
us-
Washington basketball in Seattle.
So there you go.
He also, DK, had 3 technicals at NAU, so I wonder if he got that same conversation that KJ Lewis got.
Maybe. You never know. He second team All Washington as a senior was Liam Lloyd, the son of the head coach. Our Ryan Hansen with Arizona Sports Enterprises caught up with Liam to get his feeling on being a part of his dad's program.
Couple of minutes with Arizona Wildcat men's basketball player Liam Lloyd. Liam, great to have you. It's our first chance to interact with you since you've joined the team. How's it been joining? Let's just start with the Arizona Wildcats. Don't worry about the head coach. We'll carve him out later.
Yeah.
How about joining the Arizona Wildcat roster?
I mean, it's just been so special for me just being a part of such a great storied program. I mean, it's just been special.
You've got some great experience coming from 2 other places. Talk about how those experiences, especially most recently at NAU, has helped prepare you for your opportunity here at Arizona.
Yeah, I feel like every place I've been, I've had a different experience, and I would say all of them have been good. And I've learned so many different things from all different places. And I mean, I've played a lot at one place, and I played a little bit at the other place, but now I'm coming here, and I just play in a different role, and it's just been so special for me to kind of take a step back and kind of, see how good this level is. It's awesome.
As one of the key members of that practice squad, the scout team, kind of describe your role. What type of player do you typically emulate to prepare the team for their upcoming opponent?
I mean, it really varies. I mean, I can play 1 through 5 for our scout team. So I play the 4 one week, I'll play the 5, then I'll play a high volume shooter at the 3 or 2. I mean, it's just been a lot of fun.
So how about this? You go from practicing and playing in high school and college where your dad pretty much rarely saw you now to he sees you in every drill, every free throw shooting. How does that has to feel pretty special?
I mean, it's really special. And I mean, I have an eye for what he looks for. So I know what to do and how not to mess up, I guess you could say. So it makes it easier for me just knowing what he wants. So it's been easy, honestly. It's been a pretty easy transition.
From a son's perspective and now a player's perspective, describe the type of coach your dad, Tommy Lloyd, is.
I would say he's a player's coach. I mean, he really loves his players, and he's always in his player's corner. So I would say, I mean, he wants all the guys to kind of succeed and fulfill their goals as far as players, but then as a team, he really wants to help coach them into a good young man and teach them life lessons that they'll carry with them for the rest of their lives.
That is Liam Lloyd, who is one of the young fathers on the team. Just had a son over the summer, Luca, who was born to him and his wife, Haley. So learning how to be a father while finishing up his college career and making Tommy Lloyd a grandfather for the first time. And Tommy pulled no punches during the early part of the season. Liam was dealing with a little bit of a oblique situation during training camp, and he said, hey, because we didn't see him in, I think, of those first few exhibition games, and even Brian Jeffries had joked that Liam might be in the doghouse, and Tommy was like, hey, if you don't practice, you don't play. I don't care who you are. But that's got to be, I mean, again, we've seen it before. It's not the first time a son has played for his dad, guys, but that always has to be an interesting dynamic when you've got a son on the team and of the head coach.
Yeah, I was laughing to myself, and I was thinking, I bet the guy's got to be careful around him, because he can easily. But for him to be on the team and everything, the guys have to have respect for him or whatnot, to be able to, bring him into the whole thing. So no, that's definitely interesting at the Division I level. But being that he's not a guy that's in the rotation, it's not really a problem amongst the players or whatnot, worrying like that. But he is first off the bench as far as the walk-on's concerned, though.
Yeah.
To get in that game, that's for sure.
There's also something to be said, like on the personal side of things. I mean, a high-level D1 coach, whether or not you're the number 1 assistant for the Zags or you're the head coach at Arizona, Kelvin, I mean, how much? That's like a 20-hour workday, right? I mean, how much time's available for the highest-level D1 coaches for their families? And he's been doing this a long time, has Coach Lloyd. So the fact that Liam had the ability after those 4 years to be able to spend some time on that bench, I bet you he's spending more time with his dad right now than he has in a minute, right? Because back since they left Spokane, because it's been a really hectic, and the fact that he's got the new grandson in town as well. It's always great to see him get off the bench, but I'm sure that they enjoy Kelvin that time they get to spend together.
And I'll say this, he's pretty smart. He came home right around the time he was having a baby, right? So he's pretty smart because he can get a little help.
You got the
grandma,
right?
grandma to help out
while you're finishing up school.
Grandma Chanel, she'll take Luka anytime that you want to bring him over.
So pretty smart move.
I would think for sure. And again, it's when you talk about from Tommy's standpoint, you mentioned that. I mean, there were times I can remember where, if Tommy had a break or there was a day off or something and he could get up to NAU to see his son play. I mean, it's got to be tough when you raise your son and you like to have a chance to go see him play, and you really can't do that because you're involved with your own team. And so, but, we remember that Tommy would try to do that the last couple years whenever he had an opportunity to get up there and get to see Liam play at NAU when he was with the Lumberjacks. So good to see Liam now down here wearing the Cardinal and Navy. We want to hear from you today, 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Your thoughts on the Arizona Wildcats coming back off the road trip 2-0 after wins at Cincinnati and West Virginia. Tommy Lloyd saying, hey, that trip was exactly what we needed.
It was great to go kind of hunker down a little bit and kind of be by ourselves and really spend a lot of time just focusing on the things that we think are going to drive winning, from the culture to, tactics to individual things. So we spent a lot of time, and, when it's cold outside and it's snowing and, you're in these hotels, you're not going outside much. So we had a lot of time to do multiple film sessions and have conversations with guys. So I think it was great.
Well, and you talk about hunkering down. It was cold. It was snowing. Apparently in West Virginia, it was snowing, obviously, that the day before the game so hard that they really couldn't get out and do anything there. They were kind of snowed into their hotel in Morgantown. And Tommy kind of was asked this week, well, what'd you guys do when you were snowed in there?
That waterfront Marriott hotel is really nice. We didn't leave the hotel. We actually had a great couple of days here, and it was really good for us, this kind of bonding. Hey, I mean, for the most part, everybody on our team is small town people. And we're small town and probably closer to Hicks than anything else. So, we felt fine here. The snow doesn't bother me. I mean, I have 22 years at Gonzaga and Spokane. I tell people the old joke is, and it's a lot of truth to it. I mean, I got tired watching my wife Chanel shovel snow all the time, but so it didn't bother me. We had a great time hanging out in the hotel, bonding, and had some real fun conversational deals and just hanging out. And these guys played a bunch of Uno but we can't wait to get on that bus and get up to Pittsburgh, because I guess we got to go to Pittsburgh tonight to get home.
You guys ever play Uno? You guys Uno guys? No, you never played Uno? That's the one with the colored cards.
No. We played
Uno.
dominoes.
J-Dub, you played
Yeah,
Uno?
I mean, I played hundreds of thousands of games of Uno in the 80s. Uno's huge
that was
in the 80s.
big in the 80s, absolutely. It was funny. We got a couple Christmases ago. We got into an Uno game and got kind of heated. It was like it's one of those games. It's one of those games that you can get kind of heated real quickly playing a game of Uno. But
we got an Uno deck this Christmas, Paige, like a stocking stuffer, with two sides. So both sides, there's no back to the cards. There's cards that reverse it, so then you switch and play with the other side. Have you seen this?
No.
Yeah, it's like the newest thing is like Uno reverse or some nonsense where both sides, there's no card backs like a standard, deck of 52 cards would have. It has two sides that are both playable, and yet you pick the dark side and the light side type of thing, and it gets flipped around. So we tried it once. I don't know if we played it again.
You guys ever had a snowed-in road trip, Kelvin, where you guys just kind of had to sit around and maybe do a little extra bonding there?
Pullman, got to be Pullman, right?
Yeah, probably.
We've had a few.
Or Alaska, maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to say, no, we had a few of them, and I thought of Alaska. And like they said, those times are good bonding times because y'all in there joking and, playing video games. That's the big thing, playing video games against each other and everything, and just talking and just hanging around each other, man. And to me, the road games really bring you together. You know, when you're at home, your families, your girlfriends, you're busy with you got your own friends, right? Trying to get your buddies tickets to the games and everything. But when you're on the road, it's just usually you guys. You have a few parents that travel, but it's just usually your small little group. And so you really have a chance to bond and get to, know each other better. Yeah. So I think that's, what you see with a lot of these teams, especially when, they start winning. Because that winning, boy, it really brings you together.
It's funny, DK, you mentioned like flipping the table over an Uno game is your last experience. Well, if I remember correctly, it was last year they had the pool tournament, right? Where like all the players on the team.
Right.
So having that healthy competition in something that's not basketball, it's not on the court, Kelvin, get a chance to get away. But still, I mean, come on, you don't get to this level, high D1 basketball, without being ultra competitive. You got to be ultra competitive even just to get here. So the idea of learning each other, Kelvin, like having those video game sessions, having those card sessions, dominoes, whatever that is, and getting to like being able to compete against your bros on the team without it being, one-on-one, which you've been doing all summer long. It's always good to have that bonding between each other, just healthy competition about something that's off the court.
All right, earlier today at McHale Center, Arizona women's basketball fell to Iowa State in the women's realm, 79-58. Cyclones got off to the early lead and never trailed in this ball game. They had a 9-point lead at the end of the first quarter of this game, and then they really opened it up with a 10-3 run in the second quarter.
Back out Crooks, who feeds it inside Brown. Kick out Jackson. Three-pointer is up and good. The Wildcats having so much of their attention taken toward the perimeter. Now all alone on the left wing is Wilson as the three-pointer is up and no good. Crooks goes over the top to get the rebound. That should have been a foul. She had bent Bay over at the waist, but, apparently reputation. Ryan inbounded, then accelerated back to the top of the key, trying to go one-on-one on Swan, who nearly pokes the ball away. Go through the paint where she's going to find Williams going up and underneath the basket, off the back rim to score. Cats nearly had a turnover, and instead it's going to be an easy look at the rim, as now Arizona's down 16 and have been outscored 10-3.
And Iowa State would stretch that lead to 19, but the Wildcats got hot with about 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go before halftime.
Williams goes inside and out. Harris is going to try a deep three-pointer. That's up and down. Arizona finding the mark from the outside as the Cats are now 4 for 10. Williams going right at Crooks. Nothing there. Trying to get some room for a step through. Puts that high off the glass to score it. Brown moves from the right to the left. Spins into traffic. Bumped. No whistle. Loose ball picked up by Swan. 2 seconds from midcourt. She heaves it up. And it goes!
Lauren Swan from half court to end the first half. Wildcats sliced that 19-point deficit down to 6 points in the final 3.5 minutes of the second quarter. Could they keep it going into the second half? Well, not so much, because in that third quarter, Iowa State would put together a 12-0 run of their own.
Arizona down 4 with the basketball. Lauren Swan crosses over to get inside to the rim, puts it up too strong. Rebounds cleared by Brown. Here comes Iowa State after picking up a break. Stop at the three-point line. Ryan's going to try one and hit it, so a 5-point swing there. As now it's on the outside. Jones, skip it over to Harris, who's open for three, and it's good. 5-point swing when it looked like Swan was fouled, no whistle, and instead there's a three-pointer, and it's now a 10-0 run.
It's always a foul.
Yeah, and Sydney Harris was not done.
Now 12 seconds to shoot as she's moving it to the right angle. Skip it back. Harris going to try a three-pointer that's good. 14-point game. The Wildcats had that one with Jones, who had the rebound, and nearly going to make it a 10-point game, and instead a couple of three-pointers from Harris, and they're down 17 again. 65-48, and Barnes has to take a timeout.
79-58 was the final for the Iowa State Cyclones. Sydney Harris off the bench finished with 24 points for Iowa State, 9 of 14 from the field, 5 of 9 from three. She also had 7 rebounds in the game. Emily Ryan, 15. Addie Brown had 11. Audi Crooks, the star of the team, had 11 points in the ball game as well. For your Wildcats today, they were led by Jada Williams, who had 17. She was the only Wildcat to score in double figures today. Jada also had 4 assists. Brea Cunningham held to 7 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. She would foul out in the ball game, and the Wildcats have not won a game in conference at home yet this season. They dropped to 2-3 and 0-3 at McHale.
It's tough, Kelvin. I mean, I know Coach Barnes' teams are trying to turn teams over, and they did turn the Cyclones over 15 times. But when you shoot 39% as a team yourself and give up 54% in your own building, that's a tough game to win.
Yeah, nah, man. It's been a little tough, man. I don't know if Adia got quite the depth that she really need, to be able to get it done. Because, and she don't like playing, too deep to the bench anyway, right? But, she's facing some tough teams.
10 of 24 were the Cyclones today from three-point land. We'll hear from Adia Barnes coming up a little bit later, get her thoughts with Derek Palmer after a 79-58 loss today at McHale Center. But that is our spotlight on Cat, yeah.
That's today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Discover Rocking K, a community designed by nature, built for you. Embrace the beauty of the Rincon Mountains' high desert foothills. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park. Bordering Saguaro National Park, Rocking K is conveniently located to our region's major employers and nationally recognized Vail School District. Tour 10 model homes by 4 award-winning builders and discover why more people are calling Rocking K home. LiveRockingK.com. Proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcast.
Make the right choice for your home when it comes to windows and doors. For more than 20 years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, best price, biggest inventory.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
For over 30 years, Tucson has been putting its trust in First Chiropractic for auto and on-the-job injuries. They're locally owned and a proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcasts. So if you've been injured, make the right choice. First.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
It off for Lewis. KJ drives right. His runner is up and good. Boy, tough bucket for KJ Lewis.
Really tough floater there. KJ once again uses athleticism to get to his spot off of 2 feet for the right-hand floater.
KJ Lewis, a career-high 21 points in the Wildcats win Tuesday night down in West Virginia. Welcome back to Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day tonight. Wildcats home for a 2-game homestand. Central Florida tonight. Baylor on Tuesday. Both these games will be on national TV, ESPN, the main network for the next 2 nights. So the nation getting a chance to see your Wildcats up all but late in the East. But, you know, that's just fine for us. We don't care about how late it is there. Let's bring you up to speed on what is happening in hour number 2 of our show today.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
College basketball scoreboard is straight ahead, brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers. Plus, we'll update you on the Suns who are playing today and NFL wildcard weekend. Game 1 is coming to a conclusion down in Houston. Our opponent scouting report, Mark Daniels, the voice of the Central Florida Knights, will join us. That is courtesy of Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. DK with TL is still sponsored by nobody. My questions to the head coach this week, there was a lot. I didn't really ask him a lot, but he went on forever, so we got quite a bit with that. Who will be that knight that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin? Pest of the game, brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Our view from courtside. The other voice on the, I guess that would be the east side of McHale Center. Brian Jeffries will join us tonight as well. We'll take you right up to 7:30 with tip-off coming up at 8 o'clock this evening. It is the Wildcats and Central Florida. Before we get to the scoreboard, you heard KJ Lewis at the top and that floater. KJ coming off the bench, 21 points for him. Henry Vasar also coming off the bench, had a career-high 3 blocks in that game against the Mountaineers as he continues to do it at both ends of the floor. We talked about his posterizing dunks at the front end of the show. Catch you a body, Hen. Redshirt sophomore, leads Arizona in total plus-minus this season. When he is on the court, plus 183 is the count. for Henry Vasar. We'll also hear here shortly what the head coach thinks about that. Now, in terms of KJ and Henry coming off the bench, Tommy Lloyd this week talked about if that affects their overall minutes in his lineup.
If you set up the first 4, you might set up the first 2. I mean, it just depends on how it's going. And you know, I think both those guys have, you know, and had recent games where they've played well. And, you know, maybe they played more minutes than the guy that started in front of them. So, you know, as the game plays out, you know, we'll make adjustments accordingly.
So, again, I mean, both those guys coming off the bench, but essentially it's like Tommy said, you like to have 7 guys who can start. Right now, KJ averaging 26 minutes, Henry averaging 16. His minutes are a little bit down, but there were a couple games where he was kind of in some foul trouble and maybe did not play as many minutes. But do you like the minutes that those 2 guys are getting? I mean, KJ, you figured would be right about mid-20s. So, I mean, it doesn't appear like even though he's gone to the bench, he's lost really any court time as a result of that.
Well, with the big situation, you're basically rotating 4 guys with Townsend, Awaka, Henry, and now Carter Bryant, you know, getting some rotation in as the 4 as well. So those minutes are going to go up and down depending on foul trouble. But I think Henry's going to get more minutes with the way that he's been playing, the way he's finishing around the rim, especially his defense, being able to cover out past the 3-point line and get back to his man. I think that's going to be huge as far as getting him more playing time. But I think having a strong bench is what gets you over the hump in most of these games. They've been having a better bench, and that's the reason to me for the real surge in their victories.
And I think it's so situational, right? Because if you think about it, if you go up against a 6'9", 260-pound guy, you want Tobey pushing on that guy, right? If you're going up against guys who can move their feet a little bit longer, that's a much better matchup for Henry Vasar. So the idea being like, how many minutes do they play, to me, is situational based on the opponent and what the opponent's doing on the court. As we always talk about, the old adage, it's not who starts, it's who finishes. So throughout the course of the game, Coach Lloyd's going to figure out what's working, what might not be working, and those guys who finish those last 8 minutes of that game, close games, Kelvin, that's going to be the guys who situationally are doing better job against whatever the opponent's putting up.
And when you look at Vasar, I mean, the one game he got into the foul trouble since he really started getting into the lineup was that TCU game. His minutes were limited against Sanford and Central Michigan, and that was really more so because the Wildcats were up big in both of those games. But in the other games, since he went into the lineup primarily against UCLA, 27 minutes and then 26 minutes in each of the games on the road trips. So he's really averaging probably closer to 26 minutes in the games that matter anyway.
And like Kelvin always talks about, it's game confidence. So, I mean, Henry Vasar has always had the promise and ability he's shown flashes since he stepped on campus, since he was a freshman. Now, the question is, can you do that consistently on both sides and not make mistakes, not let your man get behind you, not get offensive rebounds, maybe not have cut down on the silly turnovers, those kind of things. What we've seen lately, Mr. Ifan, is a very confident Henry Vasar without that hook, as you always talk about. He's comfortable in his role. He knows he can just go out there and play ball because he's not super concerned. Obviously, we'd love to see Mo Krivas in the lineup, but without him in the lineup for the foreseeable future, Henry Vasar doesn't have to look over his shoulder. He's just playing free and playing great ball right now.
Let's hear from KJ Lewis on his role and how really coming off the bench for him and what he's doing this year is no more different this year than what he did as a freshman last year.
I just want to, have that energy like I did last year, coming off the bench, just trying to bring a spark. If, the first 5 are, off to a slow start, I don't have that little energy. I know it's my job to come in and bring it, regardless of what it, may take, rebounding, playing defense, just being someone who can bring a spark off the bench is a big, key factor. And I'm just trying to, play that role to the biggest, to my ability, to the best of my ability.
Now, guys, there have been obviously some struggles recently in relation to, especially at maybe the offensive end, with that also carrying over at times to the defensive end with Toby Awaka and Trey Townsend, which has kind of ignited a debate of, should Tommy alter this starting lineup again? Should Henry Vasar, the way that he's been playing, should he go into the starting lineup? Maybe you pair Henry Vasar with one or the other, not having Townsend and Awaka in the game at the same time, maybe pairing Vasar with one of those guys. Let's hear what Tommy Lloyd had to say this week about that dynamic of who to pair Henry with in his front court.
I mean, for sure, you can always work about pairings, and I had put a lot of time this offseason in thinking about pairings. And, one of the centerpieces of the pairings isn't playing right now. So it's kind of blew it up a little bit. And so I've kind of had to just kind of figure it out on the fly. And I feel good where it's at. Henry and Tobe really aren't playing much together. That doesn't mean they can't or won't, but they just haven't been, because it's just we've kind of took the rotation in another direction.
So, I mean, again, there's also people that believe that Carter Bryant might be earning some starters minutes now. But right to this point, Tommy has stuck with Townsend and Awaka to at least start games. Do you believe, guys? I mean, obviously we won 5 in a row. I mean, I don't know if you need to change that right now, but at what point maybe does he look to, if Henry continues to play like this, is he deserving of potentially starting at some point down the line?
Well, I think what people have to, get out of the mindset of not starting is a slight. Right, that's not a slight. Now, not playing, has a
that's
different
a slight,
and that's not even a slight because you didn't earn the minute.
Hey, Kelvin,
so that's more the reason why you're not playing.
Kelvin, how many games did Jason Terry start at Arizona?
Not a lot till his
just
last
senior year, right?
Yeah, yeah, and so so what I'm saying about that is, I think coach is doing the right thing. I always tell you guys about understanding chemistry, understanding guys' psyche. I saw how Toby Awaka body language was when he didn't start, and it wasn't good. I told you that.
Yeah.
I said it wasn't good. And they practiced with him, and they understand some guys can play 10 minutes a game just because they started. They feel good. They feel good because they were out there at the beginning of the game. For whatever reason in his mind, he feels like that's his spot because of Krivas was injured, right? And I don't think Vasar was quite ready yet. So over the summer, he kind of ended up earning the starting position there. The other thing is Townsend is a senior, right? So you got those two veteran guys that are big bodies and physical that could wear on the other team's bigs at the beginning of the game. And then you could come off the bench with Vasar and Carter, who's not necessarily, neither one of those guys are necessarily physical, right? And now they can come in and get incorporated into the game, playing against the other big a little tired. Maybe that's what he's going for, because I can see how that could make sense.
For the record, Jason Terry played in 129 games at Arizona, started 47, 18 in that championship season before he went to the bench and started coming off the bench.
That was when Miles was suspended, right?
Miles was,
right. Oh, so actually he started the season. And then Miles came back, if that's how I remember that correctly. Right.
Yeah.
And then started all 29 games.
My point being, there was no point that Jason Terry wasn't one of the 3 or 4 best players on the team.
Right.
Every single year he was here. Judd Bushler's the guy I always talk about because he spent 3 years on the bench behind who? Sean Elliott. And then he was all pack his senior year. Like the idea that, you're just like Kelvin said, just because you're not in the starting lineup doesn't mean you're one of the most important players for that team. And you'll see that with the finishing lineups. We've seen Carter Bryant out there late, right? We've seen the Vasar out there late, Kelvin. I mean, it's really about how it's working. And as far as Townsend goes, what a lot of fans maybe don't recognize is just because a guy doesn't have 20 points and 10 rebounds, that doesn't mean that they're not setting the best screens that they possibly could on that team. The little things, setting screens, rotating on defense, all those things that a fifth-year senior, Kelvin, who's been there, done that, is going to make much less mistakes than some of the younger guys. Having that ground, that foundation of a veteran being in the starting lineup to start a game gives you so much that doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
And the last thing is, Vasar is going to be at the end of most of those games because of free throw shooting as well. Awaka hasn't shown to be a great free throw shooter, so you want a guy in there that could do that. So I think it's smart for him to. You never know when you're going to need those guys, especially Awaka and Townsend. You want to keep them, on your side or whatever. So starting them kind of gives you that, that leeway with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, Toby Awaka didn't come here to start a book club. He came here to play more. He came here to play more minutes. He wasn't getting minutes where he was. He came here he saw that there was going to be some playing time, Kelvin. So, I mean, that's it.
I'll add the last thing to this. Recruiting, right, DK? You don't play those guys, how are you going to get the next group of portal guys? How are you going to convince them? You convince these guys to come because you played Love.
Yeah.
He ends up in the Big 12. You played Keyshawn Johnson. He ended up in the NBA, and people forget Pella is a transfer as well, and he end up in the NBA. So you can get guys to buy in, wanting to come to your program because they see the guys being successful, but get a couple of those guys coming from being a Horizon League Player of the Year, and he don't play.
Since you mentioned Pella is probably the best example of a guy who's one of the best 4 players, glue guy on the team who didn't mind coming off that bench, right? It wasn't a matter of needing to have starters 35 minutes. It was whatever the team needed. And there was a couple times, right? Keyshawn in and out of the starting lineup. Pella went to the bench. More than happy, Kelvin, to be able to do whatever because clearly some guys play better when the ball gets tipped and the lights are bright.
Yes.
Other guys don't mind coming off the bench. KJ is going to be ready regardless if he's in the starting lineup. He's going to have that same energy whenever you put him in the game.
All right, let's get a quick look at the scoreboard before we hit break.
Let's take a look at what's happening today around the rest of the country. Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, 3 finals in the Big 12. Number 3, Iowa State in overtime on the road beats Texas Tech 85-84. Cyclones rally for the win in Lubbock. Number 11, Kansas over Cincinnati on the road 54-40. The Bearcats dropped to 0-4 in the Big 12, and it was TCU at home today, knocking off BYU 71-67. BYU now 1-3. TCU is 2-2 in conference play. Nearing the end in Manhattan, number 12, Houston is all over Kansas State, 79-52. So the Cougars are going to win on the road to stay undefeated and at the top of the Big 12 conference. First quarter nearing the half, Utah 37-23 on Oklahoma State. That game in Salt Lake City. Other finals on the board in the top 25. Number 4, Duke over Notre Dame, 86-78. 13th ranked Illinois falls at home to Southern California in the Big 12, 82-72. Kylan Boswell in that game, 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Number 2, Auburn over South Carolina, 66-63. It was 9th ranked UConn beating Georgetown, 68-60. Number 19, Memphis over East Carolina, 74-70. And Florida, the 8th ranked team in the country, goes on the road to Arkansas and wins 71-63.
Real quick, back to the Duke game. Cooper Flagg set the all-time ACC freshman scoring record in that game, 42 points. Guys, if you don't know out there, listeners, Cooper Flagg is the youngest player in all of college basketball.
Yeah.
He turned 18 4 games ago. You want to know his stats, Kelvin, since he turned 18? 27.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, shooting 66 from the field, 65 from three-point line, and 91 from the free throw line. That's all he's done in the last 4 games since he turned 18.
Crazy. 42 today, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists for Cooper Flagg to set that record. NFL Super Wildcard Weekend, Houston is leading the Chargers 32-12 with about 2 minutes to go in the game in Houston. That's your scoreboard for today.
Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds pride
prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Now that winter is really here, cooler overnight temperatures mean that your tire pressure warning light could be on. In most cases, you solve the problem by simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low-pressure warning light, we fix those too. Check out jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Ring in the savings at the Marion Bright sales event at Royal Buick GMC. Jingle all the way with huge savings. Save $14,000 off a new 24 Buick Enclave, or go big and save $16,000 off a new 24 GMC Sierra 1500 Pro Crew Cab, or lease it for $375 a month for 24 months with zero due at signing and all taxes and fees included. Plus, business owners can save even more with federal tax deductions on qualifying vehicles. See dealer for details. B33506, G8449, OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Leases excluded. Lease mileage charge of 20 cents per mile over 10,000 per year. Offers end 1/2/25. Get into a new Buick or GMC this season with nothing out of pocket. The Marion Bright sales event at Royal Buick GMC in the Tucson Auto Mall or RoyalTucson.com.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Darius Johnson left open. Another teardrop three. Time now for our look at today's Wildcat opponent. The scouting report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
Let's get you set for the Arizona Wildcats and the Central Florida Knights at McHale Center on Saturday. We are pleased to be joined by the voice of the Knights, Mark Daniels, joining us. And Mark, okay, so I got to go back to football first, because when we played down there for football, it was the Space Game and the Citronauts. Do you guys have a Space Game for basketball? Do you use that moniker at all for one basketball game as well?
We do. We'll have a Space Game next Saturday against Houston. So, yes, basketball does use Space Game and Citronauts, and we'll have the powder blue uniforms for next Saturday's home game against Houston.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's not happening this Saturday, because that did not go well for us down there for the football game.
Home games only. Home games only.
There you go. Okay, so 2-1 to start Big 12 conference play. A win at Texas Tech to get things going on the road. Not such a great performance against Kansas on Sunday, but a nice bounce-back win Wednesday against our old friends from Boulder, Colorado. What's your assessment just through the first three games of Big 12 about where this team might stand, if they might be bigger than that 11th place finish that they got in the preseason poll?
Well, look, UCF, first year in the Big 12 last year, I thought played above what people thought they could by winning 7 conference games and beating Kansas at home and having some of the quality victories, beating Texas and beating Oklahoma. And yet Johnny Dawkins was bringing back a very few players from last year's team, just his backcourt, talented players, but brought in 9 new faces again. So how that team is going to come together, a non-conference schedule gave UCF a chance to get some wins. We went up to Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia, played a really talented Wisconsin team, got beat in that game and then blew a 20-point lead against LSU. Should have had that game. And then you still kind of wonder what was UCF going to be. Opened the season with the impressive one against Texas A&M, who I think is really good. And then, went to Texas Tech and a very tough place to play against a team that brought back some experienced players of a tournament team last year. And UCF had a big lead. Texas Tech got back in the ball game. The Knights did some good things to close it out. Look, we got Kansas at a time that Kansas really needed a win. They lost at home to West Virginia. We couldn't play any worse. I'm not quite sure they could have played any better. I'm not saying they were as good as Kansas. The game got away early, and then it just got ugly. It doesn't erase what the final score was, but the old adage, don't let one game beat you twice or more. And I think that was interesting to see how UCF was going to come out and handle the game against Colorado. They were 0 for 10 to start the game.
Yeah.
But rallied after being down 10, made some big plays late, played better defense late, shut out Colorado the final 3 minutes, a couple of interesting calls, but got the win. I think Colorado, despite being 0-3, they've got some talent, a well-coached team in Tad Boyle. So 2-1, I think if you're UCF, you feel good about where you are, knowing you've got this tough road trip against both Arizona schools.
Now, this is a UCF team that gives up a lot of points, almost 80 points per ball game. Arizona, obviously, is a team that can put up the points. So what's the biggest concern, I guess, for the Knights and how they're going to try to stop the Wildcats?
Yeah, I think, historically, Johnny Dawkins' team has played really good defense. And the numbers this year, a little bit skewed. I think they're better defensively than what the stat sheet shows from some of the non-conference games that got a little bit away from you and so forth. But also what UCF is different this year compared to last year's team, they got more scores. Last year's team struggled to score, and really they had to keep teams in the 60s to have a chance. This team can win games in the 70s and 80s. But there's a concern, obviously, about a UCF's defense against a matchup like Arizona's playing so well right now. And the Knights are thin up front. 7'2" freshman center Mustafa Cham is really good, and he's going to get even better. There's not much depth behind him, and if he gets in foul trouble, UCF's got to play more of an undersized lineup. Benny Williams, a Syracuse transfer, we listed 6'9". Benny might be 6'7.5", 6'8". So the concern is when you face lineups that can go big, how UCF handles that. They prefer more of a guard-heavy game, so it just almost goes game to game. But I think UCF knows in this particular game, ideally you don't want a game up in the 80s. I think Johnny Dawkins comfortable with this team like they played the last game, mid-70s. If you get somebody in the 60s, I think they like their chances. But they do have more scores this year than last year's team.
We're chatting with Mark Daniels. He is the play-by-play man for the Central Florida Knights. It is your scouting report brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there. Obviously, Johnny Dawkins, you mentioned that name, head coach of this team, a guy that we're familiar with from his time here in the Pac-12 with long time with the Stanford Cardinal. You mentioned a little bit about his history at the defensive end. How do these teams do they resemble a lot of what he's done? Is it a lot of the same things that he did when he was out here on the West Coast that fans might recognize for the Knights when they get on the floor?
Yeah, I think Johnny's always been a defensive-first guy, kind of a tough a mindset and a physical basketball team, but it's been an adjustment coming from the American to the Big 12 where you had to kind of build your roster with the physicality of the Big 12, and I think UCF learned that last year. I think the first half of the Big 12 season last year, they're a bit overwhelmed, and then you kind of figure, okay, now I got an idea how to play. And now as they went to build a roster year 2, I think that's a better idea about how you try to build a roster. But Johnny, I think, would tell you he wants his team to play better defense. And they had a stretch before conference play where they were holding teams into the 60s and so forth. But yet, again, because of an ability of more scores and guys that can create on the wing, they've changed their offense a little bit. They've kind of opened things up. And, Johnny brought in an assistant that kind of is an offensive coordinator that they do a few things that typical Johnny Dawkins team haven't done in the past. He's comfortable with the 3-guard lineup, move the ball, and Keyshawn Hall is a talented 6'7", 235-pound wing. He can score from 3, he can score from 15, he can score around the basket. He's got the best moves to get inside for UCF. So that's, I think, led to Johnny to open up a little bit more offensively than probably teams of the past.
And, it's interesting. We always like to kind of look at the rosters in this era where a lot of teams, like you mentioned, getting guys in, having to rebuild rosters, where some of those players are coming from. And I see Georgia Tech and Syracuse and Memphis and some of the other schools that are on your guys' roster, LaSalle. So, again, these are kids that are coming into your program from pretty solid other programs as well. I mean, Jordan Ivy Curry, the catalyst in the win over Colorado, what kind of player is he?
Jordan Ivy Curry started his career at UTSA and then went to Pacific for a year, went back to San Antonio. A lot of schools wanted Juice, and he chose to come to play at UCF. Got a really good outside game, good crossover dribble, a good catch and shoot guy. It's been interesting to watch him because, again, you're talking about some guys that maybe were leading scorers at their school before, but how do you handle Big 12 play? We went out to Texas Tech in that environment. How do you handle that? How do you bounce back after the Kansas game? And we started 0 for 10, and then Juice hit 4 straight baskets for 10 quick points, and he can get going. Same deal with Keyshawn Hall. You come from that level below. How do you handle that? And really for Darius Johnson, the point guard, he's the only guy that had that full season of Big 12 experience. Jalen Sellers, one of UCF's other leading scorers, missed the first 10 games with a back injury, came back for 3, didn't play in the game against Colorado. He'll travel out to Arizona. We'll see. It's almost a game-by-game deal. So, this is a team that's still learning itself with some guys that haven't played at this level, and you get some guys that say, hey, how come that wasn't called a foul? And the answer is welcome to the Big 12.
Mikey Williams was a guy that Arizona offered. I think we were one of the first schools to offer Mikey out of Southern California. Do you get a sense that this game means more to him, if at all?
Well, I think for Mikey, and Mikey's a good kid. I think it's well documented his travels, and he's still adjusting to playing college basketball. Let's not forget, guys. He's out there playing high school basketball, doesn't play for more than a year and a half. Now gets acclimated, steps into high-level college basketball, learning his way in a system, asked to play defense and do some things that he typically didn't have to do when he was playing high school basketball. And then also he wasn't healthy. Mikey's battled a foot injury for quite some time, and he's playing through some pain. But he's getting more comfortable. He's getting some minutes. I think every opportunity for him is a learning opportunity. I'm sure he's excited to go back towards the West Coast and, know people out there. And it'll be interesting to see how he continues to get playing time as we get deep into Big 12 play.
And obviously you mentioned last year was your guys' first year in this conference. This is our first year in the conference out here at Arizona. How has this gone for you guys? How is this transition into the Big 12 worked from the Central Florida standpoint is to the first year versus the second year?
For all UCF programs, and I'll just mention about football and basketball, to watch UCF play well football, clearly in the American and Cincinnati were the two dominant programs there. You had to learn about Big 12 football and the physical style, the offenses, the defenses, the quality of coaches. Same thing in basketball where the jump was even bigger for us. Our basketball program was not contending every year in the American. So it was a significant jump and a little bit of a culture shock, but it was awesome. And I think, you want to play at a high level like this. And I think from a fan standpoint, it was awesome. Every home game for UCF is a sellout in the Big 12. That was not the case in the American. And now fans want to come and see a great brand. I love it. The competition's incredible. Every game is a challenging game. I think there's no gimmicks in this league. Clearly, there are some teams that are, I think, above others, but tough to go on the road and win games and physical. And I just think every night you're like, wow, like we come here on this trip out to Arizona State. Great. We come home for Houston, then go to Iowa State. I mean, come on. What's wrong with that? As far as great quality basketball goes,
Central Florida pretty healthy coming in?
Well, Jalen Sellers, who, as I mentioned before, was, one of UCF leading scorers last year, averaging just under 16 a game. I think at the end of the season, he was I think UCF one of the better backcourts of the league last year at the end of the year with Sellers and Darius Johnson. Darius has played and has played well this year. Jalen missed 10 games with a back injury that he suffered in an exhibition game, played 3 games, and did not play in Colorado. He'll travel in kind of a game-by-game with him. Everybody else is healthy for UCF. Sellers is important. He's a big 6'4", 220-pound guard that looks like a Big 12 guard. It helps when you have him. If you don't, then you're asking guys to play a little bit more minutes, and you're asking more experienced guys to play, and that makes it challenging. UCF knows, well, they don't know. I remember 2007 coming out there. The environment they're about to step into is one of the best in college basketball. I think it's awesome. That's what this league is about. Looking forward to it, and I think for some UCF players, they're going to have to quickly realize, the environment they're going to be playing in.
And we're chatting once again with the voice of UCF Knights. His name is Mark Daniels. It's your scouting report brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier. Since 1960, we're here to get you there. One more question for you, Mark. Darius Johnson. He just seems like, I would imagine he's the point guard. It seems like he's a guy that gets it done at both ends of the floor. 57 assists and 42 steals. Wow.
Yeah, and leading the league in minutes played, and that's where, UCF needs him on the floor. I've watched Darius every year grow up from a guy looking to find his place and then, showing some skills and getting a little bit thicker and stronger. And, really the last third of the season last year, he was as good as anybody in the league as far as putting up numbers. He was averaging well over 20 points a game. And tough guy, can get to the basket, loves the contact, doesn't mind getting inside the paint, going against bigger players. A teardrop three-point shot. He's shooting better than 40% from the three-point line. And Darius is the floor captain, and he's that other coach for Johnny Dawkins. So, for UCF to win a game like Arizona State, they need Darius out of foul trouble, being able to knock down the outside shot, kind of being a calming influence on the floor. And like I said, he's playing a lot of minutes, 35-plus minutes a game, wow. Which you need out of a senior. And, he's a good one, and UCF needs him, to be a leader out there.
Mark, what are your main keys to a win for UCF?
Well, protect the basketball. UCF can't turn the ball over and make it easy for Arizona. They've got to, avoid the 8-0, 10-0 run that turns a 2-point game to a 10-point game. They've got to shoot well early. UCF, a little bit of a head scratcher. There's been about 5-6 games that they'll get off to. Like we were 0 for 10 against Colorado on Wednesday. They've gone 1 for 9. They've gone 0 for 7 from the three-point line. They've got to be able to knock down some shots early on to kind of get themselves comfortable into the flow of the game. Stay out of foul trouble. Mustafa Chim, 7'2". He just turned 18 years old. He reclassified, still supposed to play high school basketball. He's the highest recruit that UCF's ever had. I think he's on a course that he'll play at the next level. When that happens, I don't know. But he's got very developed skills for a kid from Senegal that looks the part, shoots free throws about 70%, has a nice three-point shot. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. If he's in foul trouble, UCF lacks depth up front, and then there's a ripple effect of that with Arizona's depth, that would be a problem for UCF. So stay out of foul trouble, protect the basketball, knock down some shots, give yourself a chance in the second half. I think that's, everybody wants to blow somebody out, but I think for UCF, give yourself a chance. You look up at the under 8 timeout, it's a 1-2 possession game, and then take it from there.
Mark, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us and letting all of our fans out here know a little bit about this UCF basketball team.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And that's the lowdown on the team U of A is about to face on the hardwood. The scouting report has been brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or RoyalKia.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rocking K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is the ultimate team when it comes to your home's comfort.
Thinking about replacing your heating and air system? It's free furnace season at Right Way.
These are some of the slowest months of the year. We have equipment in stock and our crews are available.
And we're including an 80% furnace absolutely free with the purchase of an air conditioning system.
And if that's not enough, we're offering 60 months no interest financing, tax credits up to $2,600, energy efficiency rebates, and 10-year parts and labor warranty.
Call or text 520-200-2422 today or visit rightwayac.com.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style. And top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot. More than a window store.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work. Oh. Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
Not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Basar setting a screen. They'll also throws it back to Henry to the pocket and hammers it down with the right hand for Henry Basar.
Henry Basar just caught a body there and a poster at the same time with a big-time one-handed flush on Andre.
Catch you a body, Hen. Henry Basar taking people to the hole and dunking on them. See if that continues the next 2 games for the Arizona Wildcats, getting set to take on Central Florida here tonight at McHale Center. 8 o'clock is tip-off. Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day, 520-848-1290. You can give us your thoughts on Arizona basketball. You can text us at that number. You can call that number. You can follow our show on any of our social media platforms. We are streaming this show live, video-wise, on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, so you can watch it on any of those platforms. You can also interact or listen to the show at WildcatsRadio1290.com, on our app. Download our app. We've got a preview story of tonight's game. You can hear from head coach Tommy Lloyd, as well as from Johnny Dawkins, the head coach of the Central Florida Knights. All of that is on our app for sure. Time now for none other than DK with TL. It is sponsored by nobody. My questions this week to the head coach of your Arizona Wildcats, Tommy Lloyd. You heard that dunk there by Henry Vasar, who has really been coming on both offensively and defensively for the Arizona Wildcats. And I started off the coach with a question about the redshirt sophomore forward.
Tommy, with what we're seeing from Henry, maybe what's the big thing that stands out that maybe you didn't think that would come real quick for him?
Well, the one thing is, he spent a lot of time working on his shooting, and he is actually a good shooter. I don't think his shooting numbers are great, but which is encouraging for me. He's doing the other things, and, we need him to impact the game at both ends of the floor, and, I make no bones about it. Our bigs have always been able to create an advantage for us. In albeit maybe in different styles, but it's always been an advantage, our bigs production and impact on the game. And so, Henry's figuring out his own way to create that advantage for us, and I've been really, really happy for him, but the one thing, my message has been pretty consistent. Just because you played a few good games, don't assume you've arrived. I mean, you've got to show up and keep pushing the envelope, and you got to perform every day. I mean, there's sometimes you see that with a kind of a player who's coming on. They'll come on and then they'll maybe let their guard down a little bit. And then they'll kind of, step back, and then you kind of got to rebuild them again. And, I've just told Henry, you've been here long enough and you've been through the build-up, breakdown process enough that let's stay built up and keep going. And so I'm really encouraged where he's at and feel like there's still a meat on the bone there to get better.
Trey Townsend seemed more aggressive against West Virginia, taking three-pointers. Was that a directive that you want him to take more of those?
I mean, I want Trey to be comfortable, shooting shots he feels good, that he can be successful with. And so I have no problem with him shooting threes. He did a great job, moving, within our offense and finding a three-point opportunity at the top of the key, I think in the first half of that game, which was great. And so Trey's a really good player. I don't want him to get too fixated on I got to shoot threes or I just got to play inside. He's got to kind of find his way. And when you're given a player that latitude, you could play inside, you could play outside, and you're kind of, he's kind of figuring it out on his own as the game plays out in front of him. You got to give him some time. You got to give him some time to kind of figure out where they could be most effective. I think he's moving better, within the offense, and again, it's not easy to do. You're sliding to the corner one time, you're posting up one time, you're at the top of the key the next time. There's a lot of different areas on the floor that he's playing in. So I think he's getting more comfortable figuring that out, and I think he's really making growth, on the defensive end, playing on the perimeter and different coverages and stuff like that. So I'm happy with, Trey's performance and encouraged that I know he's a really good player and, he's capable of doing more and we're ready for him to do more when it makes sense for it to happen. And there's no reason that can't be Saturday.
Did you notice, Tommy, any new defenses that West Virginia or Cincinnati were throwing at Caleb to try to slow him down?
No, nothing new. I mean, obviously Caleb's, going to be at the top of every team's scouting report, and I think West Virginia has a really good individual defender, and kid number 10 for them, and he was pretty committed to making Caleb's catches tough. And, the team got playing well. We cycled through our rotation. Caleb came out, and the team continued to play really well. And so I just kind of rode that one out in the second half. And, we feel like that was the right decision. But I really don't have any, major concerns about, Caleb. I think he's seen it all at this point. And, he just has to stay hungry, and he has to stay committed to trying to outwork the defense. That there's really no other formula for it. You're gonna, if a team's putting great effort into trying to limit your touches, at some point you got to outwork them, and so and he has had moments where he's really done that this season. So we'll just continue to try to pursue that.
Caleb has also looked more aggressive defensively, especially trapping a lot with KG out there trying to get steals. How do you like what you've seen from that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I think Caleb's defense has been good. I think on the road trip it was pretty good. I got after him a little bit a couple weeks ago. I thought he took a couple I would say really risky plays, kind of all or nothing type of plays, and I don't think he has to do that defensively. I think he's a really talented defender when he locks in. I think he's a guy that's really hard to score on when he locks in, and so just trust that. You don't have to necessarily get a steal on every pass or pick a guy's pocket on the first dribble to play good defense. And so I felt really good about how he defended last weekend, and I felt really good how our team defended overall last weekend for the most part. And and we know, hey, to win on the road, you got to play really good defense. And if you can go on the road and hold both teams under 40% field goal percentage, you give yourself a chance to win, and that's what we did.
Going back to Henry, the play he made against Cincinnati where he tapped the 2 offensive rebounds to himself to get the dunk. When you see a play like that, I mean, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's inspiring. It's inspiring to the team, and it's encouraging for Henry's development. I think Henry, also came up with in the first half of that West Virginia game, he came up with an offensive rebound on a free throw, kind of in a scramble situation. I mean, those hustle plays are huge. I mean, that tells you a guy's, giving effort and has belief and wants to help the team and make plays. So, yeah, but that play in particular against Cincinnati was, that was an important moment for our team and an important moment in that game. And I think it was kind of a, we kind of say a defining moment for Henry as he's growing in our program.
Tommy, apparently there are rankings now for the basketball managers. Any thoughts on your guys?
I mean, I haven't seen those managers. If I don't look at our rankings, I'm not going to look at them. But the reports I'm getting are good. And the effort I'm seeing in some of the drill work and practice has been impressive. And the managers are really gelling. They're, selfless guys, incredible work ethic. They don't got a lot of size, but they probably move the ball pretty well and give great effort on defense. And I'm telling you what, they're a great rebounding team. I watch them rebound when our guys shoot all the time. I mean, just rebounding, pass out, it's pretty impressive.
Tommy, congratulations on another selection by USA Basketball for an assignment. How will this one be different than last summer?
Stressful. I mean, the U19 tournament's tough. It's really a tough tournament, and I don't think people understand. That you might have an age. Everybody's a similar age, but a lot of these teams from Europe, these kids have been playing pro the last 3 years, and we're going to go into the competition with a lot of high school kids. And, kids that are just finishing their senior year or kids that just finished their freshman year in college. So, it makes it for an interesting competition. And I know the U19s have become one of the tougher international competitions for USA Basketball to gold. And so, we know that when you represent USA Basketball, gold is the standard. And it's a challenge we fully embrace and accept, but we also understand it's going to be a lot of work. So, therein lies a stressful summer.
That is the head coach of your Arizona Wildcats, Tommy Lloyd. DK with TL, sponsored by Nobody. So I want to go back to this whole managers thing as a former college basketball manager myself. Apparently they've got rankings now for what's called the manager games. Now, and they had this back in the day when, well, they had we did this. I wouldn't say they had rankings, but we did this back obviously in the day. Sometimes you would get together on road trips and the managers would play each other in a game. Be in between, the night you get down there. Like if say we were playing Thursday night, we got here Wednesday afternoon. We'd play the Arizona managers in a game on Wednesday night after maybe our practice or whatever not at the arena. And then you keep tabs for all this stuff. Well, apparently they have a managers games top 10 now. Virginia Tech is number 1. Indiana is number 2. Number 3, St. John's. Missouri 4. UCLA 5. Arizona 6th in the country, followed by Marquette, Northwestern State, Maryland, and Iona. So the Arizona managers, top 6 in the country. And this is not for doing their job. This is for actually playing basketball. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and a lot of the managers are former basketball players.
Yeah.
So a lot, and a lot of them have dreams of maybe, just maybe, something could happen and they could end up on the team. You know, and so yeah, man, it's fun to see that they're able to have fun, to go. They're on these road trips. They're putting in a lot of work. So for them to have a chance to get in there and have some games in between time, and you know, hey, all the power to those guys.
And hey, guys, sometimes people go to Texas for football because they see a lot of guys in the NFL that went to play for the Longhorns, right? What's the roadmap for managers and or bench, like 7th man, 14th man on the bench, Kelvin, who came out of Tucson and went on to do great things, whatever profession that they chose to go into? I mean, just look no further than the Warriors bench, right? I mean, how many of those guys, you know, there's just so many former Arizona Wildcats who didn't get a bunch of PT here when they were in a Wildcats uniform, but either went on to become a coach, assistant coaches in the NBA, all of that stuff down the road. So there's definitely a roadmap for that. I'm not surprised that a bunch of high-quality guys who could, Kelvin, average 20 at D3, D2 level type of thing, choose to come here and learn the ins and outs from a program and a group of coaches like
now,
this.
Back in the 80s, we barely had enough guys to put together a 5, but now these teams have like 12, 14 managers out there. I mean, so you can put together a whole entire squad.
You know, so many that it's only they have to switch. Why they have senior managers, right? They go on the road, and other guys, you know, stay home or whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, man, I remember sometimes those guys used to help us scrimmage, but they don't have to do it now because they got 25 players on the team, right? But they used to help us scrimmage. I mean, in games, I think it was who was that? The announcer right now.
Ryan Hansen.
Yeah. He used to be one of my teammates. Man, Rhino used to be, you know, out there getting shots up sometimes.
Yeah. I was purely in it for the trips and the gear. Purely. That's why I was in it for I was like, okay, wait, I can be a manager. I can go on the road, and I can get out of school on Thursday and Friday and be on the team plane and get good food.
Hang out at the Green Dolphin.
Exactly. Hang out at the Green Dolphin in Arizona and the Sun Devil Club or whatever it used to, Sun Devil House in Tempe. Yeah. I mean, I told you some good things happen up in Pullman, so we won't go too deep into that, but it was a fun life, let me tell you, as a basketball manager in the Pac-12 back in the day. All right, let's give you our let's do these our best of the game real quick.
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at bepestfree.com.
All right, we had a chance to talk to Mark Daniels. I gotta go with Darius Johnson, man. This guy he's one of the, you know, I like the guys on defense that can take away the basketball. He's 5th in the nation in steals per game, 7th overall in steals with 42 on the season. Those are both tops in the Big 12. So I am going with Darius Johnson as my Pest of the Game.
Yeah, no, that's a good one right there. You look up and down this team, great athletes that can really lock in. I mean, they got some athletes that can compete with anybody, but I'm going to go Jordan Ivy Curry. That three-point shooting ability, man, is huge. It's an equalizer, and that's something that we have to contend with.
Yeah, and I'll go with the other guy, Dallin Coleman, who likes to thieve the ball from people. That's the biggest issue when you talk about going up against teams like this, is if you're loose with the ball and they're knocking down threes, that's when you see a big spread, guys, go the other way. So anybody who can knock down threes or get in those passing lanes, those are going to be the pests for me.
Who was your guy again, Calvin?
Jordan Ivy Curry.
So both you guys went Jordan Ivy Curry?
No, Dallin Coleman.
Sorry,
is my guy.
Dallin Debo.
Those
Dallin
are the three.
Debo.
Those are the three best theft guys on that team.
So Debo Coleman, Jordan Ivy Curry, and Darius Johnson. Those are the three that we believe will get underneath the Wildcats' skin today. Before we go ahead, you can play that.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit bepestfree.com.
All right, let's hear from Johnny Dawkins real quick about his team going on the road already once this season and winning. That was at Texas Tech.
It definitely showed that we're capable. It showed we're capable of winning on the road, winning a game like that in that environment. I think helps our guys, going forward, because no matter where we go, the environment's going to be the same. They're going to be great. Every environment's going to be like the Texas Tech environment was, which means they're going to have a full gym. Everyone's going to be against us, and it's just going to be us, rallying around each other to try to be successful. So I think that helps us by being in that situation going forward. Now we have to, learn the lessons and try to apply them as we move on, on this next road trip.
Arizona and Central Florida, we are creeping up on tip-off coming up at 8 o'clock. All right, 2 hours in the books here. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We've got 1 hour left with you. Much more straight ahead. In our next segment, our best bets. Arizona, a 16.5-point favorite in this game. We'll see what the fellas think on that. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You are listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of the pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
Not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bpestfree.com.
This is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond, the round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Donna Autumn Nation.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Did you know collecting sports cards is one of the fastest growing hobbies around? Whether you're looking to start or expand your collection, Showtime Cards is your ultimate destination. As one of the leading card shops in the country, they've been serving our community for over 25 years with the best in sports cards and trading card games. From rare finds to the latest releases, Showtime Cards has it all. Check them out at ShowtimeCards.com or visit them today at 5801 East Speedway and discover why collectors everywhere trust Showtime Cards for their passion.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave, and mingle at private Diamond Community Park events. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rock & K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 11 different model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in-ready homes and special incentives. Live RockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Previs turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Pumps goes in the lane, left hand over the rim. No good, but there's Carter Bryant to put in the follow.
Let's take a look at the Right Way rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, final hour of our show. Still more to come. Best bets. What's it look like at the Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook? Arizona minus 16.5-point favorite. Over under tonight, 154.5. We'll see what the fellas think about that. We'll give you your view from courtside straight ahead. Brian Jeffries, the voice of the Wildcats, will join us. Keys to the game, starting lineups, all of that is still straight ahead as we work you closer to an 8 o'clock tip-off tonight at McHale Center. First ever meeting between Arizona and Central Florida. All right, Tommy Lloyd has got his bench going. I mean, they've been scoring pretty well off the bench. When you talk about Henry Vasar, when you talk about Carter Bryant, KJ Lewis, that threesome alone, really powering things for this Arizona bench. This offense has found its footing over the course of the last 5 games and through the first 3 games of conference play, winning their first 3 games of the Big 12 and now 5 straight wins overall. This is a team in Central Florida that will try to press Arizona tonight, which could be good for the transition game. Tommy Lloyd saying that, hey, we've got to adjust to the way that teams are trying to deny us getting out fast in transition.
We understand you're going to have to win games, and you can win games to get in the open court, but you're also going to have to win games in the half court. And we've always understood that, but listen, we're not going to turn down a fast break, where we can get a layup. I mean, we're never going to turn that down. So, we'll continue to hunt those opportunities, but at the end of the day, when we get the ball to the half court, hopefully we can move it, move the ball, move our bodies, play with great fundamentals, and just make good decisions and get, great shot attempts, over and over again. We're not going to really make it much more complicated than that.
Anthony Del Orso got some key minutes in that win over West Virginia last Tuesday night with the struggles of Caleb Love in that ball game and Tommy Lloyd staying with his bench down the stretch. 25 minutes in that game for Anthony Del Orso. That was the second most minutes that he's played in a game all season long. Finished with 10 points, made a couple of threes, finished 4 for 9 from the floor, did Anthony Del Orso. Anthony, on when defenses attack the ball, the Wildcats have to get it moving.
I think it's an understanding of kind of what the other team's goal is. I think it's just that recognition of understanding what they're doing and how we can take advantage of that. And, Tommy's on, us guards is big as well to, play together and look for each other. So we're just building that connection every day to, have the confidence to throw ahead and expect the guy to be in the right spot.
Carter Bryant, another guy in that bench mob that has really come in and flourished, especially when you talk about the start to Big 12 conference play for Carter Bryant. Bryant has, at least in the last game, had 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal in that game at West Virginia. And he's one of those guys that's kind of been in the middle of the offense at times this season, asked to move that ball back and forth around Tommy Lloyd's offense may see some zone tonight from Central Florida, as J-Dub mentioned at the top of the show. Carter talking about how the Wildcats want to try to attack that zone from the high post.
I think the biggest thing is just moving the ball, getting the ball from side to side, allowing the high post to kind of operate, turn and face, and kind of look at your options. If you're flashing, you got to look down at your opposite big that's down, and you got to look at your corners to see who's kind of flat, who's spread, who's high. Just understanding basketball, certain guys have to pull because of the gravity of certain individuals. Like if you have Caleb in the strong side corner, you know you can rip to his side because he's not. No guys are going to help too much. But obviously, like a guy we have like with KJ. He's just so active, and he has so much gravity on the offensive boards that you can't necessarily leave him because you know he's going to come in for cleanup.
Carter Bryant didn't miss a shot from the floor on that road trip. 8 for 8. He's 11 of 14 from the floor in conference play. That's, again, he's starting to peak, guys, at the time you want to see a young man like that start to peak.
Well, dunks and catch and shoot shots. Real simple. He's not playing at that guard position, so he's not putting the ball on the floor so much where he's having to overthink. It's just simplified for him because now at that 4 position, he's just catching and facing up. And what's there, he's taking it. And you heard him say it, in the zone defense. You go to the middle of the zone. We call it the high post. We get that ball there, and you turn and you look at the box. You look at your big on the box, which draws, what he says, gravity. By looking at that big, the gravity pulls people to him, and it opens up your guys on the wing, right? So he's just making the right play, playing simple basketball, which I think is what Coach Lloyd wants those guys doing.
I've always felt like the biggest adjustment from high school to this level is figuring out where your shots are coming from and understanding that window to get those shots off has closed a lot. Faster, quicker, longer athletes. I just think Carter Bryant was letting the game come to him. Kelvin, I mean, I feel like those first few games, he was almost hesitant to take shots because he wasn't necessarily sure. Right now, he's letting it fly. That catch and shoot 3 over that defender in the last game, maybe it was 2 games ago, really, really confident letting that thing go late shot clock. I think Carter's always had the tools to be a 5-tool kind of guy. Where those shots come from, you're talking about his shooting percentage. To me, DK, that's just straight shot selection. And his teammates, they knew what he had coming in. They played against him this summer. They saw highlights in high school, but really trusting Kelvin at this level, the young man's going to knock those shots down. I just think his shot selection has improved quite a bit, and it's just going to get better.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Brian Jeffries was saying in a conversation he had with assistant coach Steve Robinson, and is that it's the ball movement, but it's also that this team's shot selection has been better. Anthony Del Orso kind of talking a little bit about how things have developed offensively over the course of the last 3 weeks.
I don't think there's anything missing. I don't think it's like we don't have the right people or the right, style of offense or coach's plan isn't right. I don't think it's any of that. I think it's just it takes time to connect and get the trust going and have that gel on the offensive end. It's not about this guy's not good at this or this guy's not good at that. It's just knowing that, all right, we trust each other on the court. We're willing to make the pass. We're willing to get it back. We trust the offense enough that it's going to come back to us. It's those questions. It's not about like, oh, I don't like this guy. I don't want to throw it. It's just time. It just takes time and it takes reps. So that's why in practice, he's on us, like I said, us guards to really push the issue in terms of sharing the ball because we essentially control the offense. Like the bigs are a big key, but the guards are the ones that have to control the game.
And I think one of the things obviously has been the key is that the Wildcats have really played some solid defense over the course of the last 3 weeks. Now, they do enter this game with a 5-game winning streak we mentioned. They're shooting 53% overall during that streak, but they're also holding their opponents to under 30% from behind the 3-point line. And Tommy Lloyd says, hey, when you can defend like that, you can survive nights when the offense maybe is not playing all on point.
We're not expecting, our offense to click at a, crazy efficient level every Big 12 game. We know that the formula to winning is going to be a combination of efficient offense and efficient defense, and so I'm not really getting too caught up in they're taking away Caleb, but it's giving us this. We're looking at a lot of things, and the one thing I feel a lot better about now is the way the ball's moving and the way the players are moving. I feel a lot better about that. I think that's the most important part of our formula.
Well, remember when we thought that the 3-point defense was an issue? Well, 3-point shooting now for the opponents is down to 31% for the season. against Arizona.
Yeah, we talk a lot about offense, Kelvin, and trusting and understanding spots where guys like to catch. Just those tendencies that players have, and that forms over time playing with each other. But defensive rotations is another thing that on the other side, we don't necessarily talk about that as much. But you talked about it a lot last year when Arizona was having issues closing out to those three-pointers, shooters, especially in the corners. What have you seen maybe since Atlantis, those guys maybe being more on the same page, not going after that same man? What's the difference in the three-point defense?
Krivas is not in. Krivas is not in, and you don't have to do the drop coverage. You bring a guy in like Henry and Parker. Those guys can cover different positions. You can almost switch every position with these guys. So now you got guys up on the three-pointer. You get one guy having to do drop coverage. Now, J-Dub, you notice, now you're in scramble.
Yeah.
Now you're in scramble trying to get back to guys, and now you're having to make multiple efforts, and you don't quite get more than two a lot of the times. That third one usually is a wide-open shot for somebody, and these teams were knocking shots down. So Krivas not being there actually has helped the team because now we're a little bit more athletic where the bigs can cover out on the perimeter and not give up pick and pop threes from the other team fives.
And then you look at, obviously, this Wildcat team is, once again, trying to get back into the top 25. It's a place they have not, being outside of it, it's something they haven't necessarily had to deal with much in the Tommy Lloyd era. A win today could indeed get you back to that point where you want to be amongst the 25 best teams in the country. Let's find out if we can win some money on this game tonight.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, Arizona, a 16.5-point favorite tonight at home. They've played well at home. This is, some may say this is, I think the word we were looking for earlier, trap game.
There it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I lost it.
Trap
There
game.
it is. Yeah.
Because you've got Baylor coming in here on Tuesday night. But I'm taking this. I just feel good about Arizona, especially the way they played at home and the way that I think they'll be able to get out and run in this game and maybe get some more transition buckets. So I'm going to take U of A and lay this 16.5 tonight.
And exactly for the reason what you said, getting out, getting some easy buckets and everything, that I can't take it.
Ooh.
I just don't think a Johnny Dawkins team, especially after getting embarrassed by Kansas the way that they did, I think that the defensive players that they have, I just can't see them losing by 16 here today.
Okay.
I will go with UDK. I think not by much more than that, but I just think the way they're playing, the way the guards are playing, all four of them, and anytime a team's going to try to pressure, when you have fifth-year seniors, you got Jaden Bradley, very good ball handler. KJ's shown more recently that his handles have tightened way up in his time at point guard. So I think when you press this Arizona Wildcat team, if that's what Coach Dawkins' plan is, that Arizona does have the tools and the guys to make you pay for that. So I think they win probably not by much more than that, maybe 17.
All right, over-under 154.5. Under has been the play recently on the road anyway, but the Wildcats seem to be able to get more points and cover generally at home. What do you think on this, Kelvin? Over-under 154.5.
Yeah, I'm going over. I'm going over on this. I think both teams have some capable offensive scores.
Yeah, same. I think they average together, if you put their point totals together, something like 160. Two higher scoring teams, 79 for the Knights, and Arizona's up in the top 20 as always, 85. So I think it's going to be over as well.
All right, I agree. I think over is definitely going to be the play tonight in this game. All right, that's what we think the Wildcats will do on the Desert Diamond Casino big board at the Sportsbook.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
Our view from courtside, the voice of the Wildcats, Brian Jeffries, joins us next. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, along with Calvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thana Ardent Nation.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Happy New Year and welcome to 2025. It's a new year, but we still have air conditioning and heating systems at last year's prices. We have high-efficient inverter systems for as low as $89 a month. For year-round comfort, call Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or PictureRocksCooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or RoyalKia.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rockin' K. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Quick, she's over here. I don't know. I just found her like this.
Yeah, she's banged up, but she'll be fine.
Oh, thank God. What can I do?
Just need the keys. And, sir?
Yeah?
Your car's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Mobile detailing from Recon Auto Detailing. Tired of wear and tear on your vehicle or just tired of cleaning it yourself? We'll come to you. Book with us online and see why we have over 1,100 5-star reviews. Recon Auto Detailing. ReconDetail.com.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
And our view from courtside today comes from the man that's going to call the game on the Arizona Wildcats radio network, Arizona Sports Enterprises, the longtime voice of your Cats, Brian Jeffries. And Brian, a successful road trip to West Virginia and Cincinnati. It was a little cold back there. I mean, you guys have dealt with cold in the past, going up to places like Seattle and of course Pullman. How though this first trek into the Big 12 and this new type of weather different for you guys?
Well, it really did when it comes down to it. Weather was a problem for everybody back in the East. A bad storm, I think, as you know, went through the area back there. We got out of Cincinnati just in the nick of time on Sunday because they'd forecast the snow to start coming down about 10 in the morning, and sure enough, it started. And I think when we got to the airport, there was about a half inch or so, and then we left, and the conditions in West Virginia were much more favorable when we arrived. And then, of course, Cincinnati just got hammered the next day or so. So it was good to get out of there, and everything worked. I guess the only snag was the return trip on Tuesday night. We were scheduled to fly out, not in Morgantown, but a little town just south of there where we had landed. But that airport was closed, and so they sent our plane up to Pittsburgh, and it's a farther trek, but I'll give our bus driver a lot of credit. He got us there in plenty of time, and we got off the ground. So that was the snag travel-wise. The atmosphere, exactly what everyone had told us about, and that is the crowds were incredibly loud. They're intense. I mean, maybe every seat wasn't filled, but it felt like it just because of the noise factor that were in both arenas. And that's what the Big 12 is known for. And sure enough, at least in my mind, it didn't disappoint. And I love that. And I think the players, enjoy it to some aspect because it brings out the best of you. So, and you win both games, and that helps your, outlook on it. Had you lost one or two of those games, you might feel differently. But I think that Tommy had his guys very well prepared on the psychological side, knowing what they were going to walk into. And they responded. Even when they lost that lead at Cincinnati, they found a way to win. And then on Tuesday, I think they were really set to go on Tuesday. I could see that on Monday night that they were ready to play and played very well.
Brian, what are you kind of seeing maybe was the difference in those games down the stretch? Why they were able to close? Why they were able to maybe get some of those baskets and scoring opportunities at the offensive end and defend at the defensive end? I mean, I think it was Cincinnati had made 12 or 15 shots, and then they missed 4 of their last 5 because the Wildcats, they were able to maybe turn it up a notch defensively down the stretch there. What were some of the other things that maybe you were seeing as the reasons they were able to close those games?
Well, I think, the experience factor is a big help. And keep in mind, even though there's some new faces on this Arizona team, you've got guys like Toby Owaka and Trey Townsend. They played a lot of basketball, and obviously Caleb Love, and now, Jaden Bradley, et cetera. These guys have now been around the block a few times. And they also experienced some tough losses earlier this year. That loss to West Virginia down to the Bahamas, the loss to UCLA up in Phoenix. Those were games they think they could have won. They had leads in both of them, and it didn't. And I think that's teaching moments. So if you use those to your advantage, you don't get yourself into a doubting frame of mind where you think you can't win. You just say, okay, we've been through this. We know how to get it done now. So I think that was the biggest factor. The other thing that I think has just helped this team throughout this 5-game winning streak is they're taking better shots. And the assist totals are up. That's a big factor. But talking to Steve Robinson when we were, I think, in Cincinnati, and I asked him, I said, why is the team, is it just assist? Is it movement, ball movement? He said, that's part of it. He says, but we're taking better shots for each individual. So each guy has now kind of figured out where his best place is to catch and shoot, or however you might. I mean, Jaden Bradley wasn't catching and shooting. He was driving to the basket.
Yeah.
And he's found that. And, Carter Bryant didn't miss a shot on the road trip. And I think it's just those learning factors now are helping them a lot. And they're just playing more cohesive basketball right now.
We are joined by the voice of the Wildcats, Brian Jeffries. It's your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Arizona for more than 25 years. Brian, we have been talking a lot about Carter Bryant, the freshman forward from Southern California, and we have just been marveling at this young man's basketball knowledge. Every time we hear him talk, have you had a chance to have an extended conversation with him, and then kind of what are your feelings on the way that he speaks the game and understands the game at such a young age?
Yeah, and if anybody didn't get a chance to hear our pregame show on Tuesday, you can go back and find it on ArizonaWildcats.com because he was our pregame guest, and that's the first time I've had a chance to really sit down. We sat down at the hotel there in Morgantown and talked a bit, and then did an interview, and it ended up to be even longer than I expected, just because it was fascinating to hear him talk about, how much his father, his family, has helped him in terms of his basketball growth, and that's where he got it from. I think my question was, what I was trying to get to is, are there other guys that you have, admired growing up playing basketball? And I think I triggered it by saying some known or unknown. And when I said unknown, then he started talking about, his family, his extended family, and how much involvement they've had in basketball and how much he learned from them. So that tells you a lot right there about where he comes from. And yes, he is a student of the game, and he will admit that readily. He really works hard in practice. He listens to the coaches, and all that's starting to show now. 14 games into his freshman season, and you can see why so many people knew that he had a chance to be, one of the best freshmen in the country, and it's looking that way more and more. So, yeah, and he's got it helps that you have those physical tools, which he does and knows how to use them.
Chatting with Brian Jeffries, voice of the Wildcats. Brian, obviously, when you talk about this team and what's the way that this is going to move going forward, you look at Caleb Love, and he had been on such a nice streak of scoring. It didn't score as much on this trip, didn't shoot the ball all that particularly well. I think it was just 6 of 25 or something along those lines. In terms of his from the field, but they won both those games without him having to be the man. There's positives, there's negatives in there. Our question, I guess, we were talking about after the game, is that sustainable? Can they win a lot of games like that when he's not on?
My opinion right now, David, as I looked at this team, and in particular these last two games, they used an 8-man rotation. And all 8 guys contributed in some way. And if you look at the box score, maybe you didn't see a lot of points from Tobe Owaka. But I tell you what, defensively, I thought he was really good at West Virginia. The matchups didn't favor him at Cincinnati, and we knew that going in. And so, again, the box score sometimes lies, because unless you're actually watching the game and seeing what those guys are doing without the basketball in their hands, that's a lot of their value. And so I really think that the key to this team right now is they have a really solid 8-man rotation, and they're all contributing in different ways. And sometimes, KJ Lewis had a career game in Morgantown. Well, okay, so Caleb Love didn't. He scored in single digits, which he hasn't done very much this year. But the thing I like about Caleb is that I don't think he's forcing anything right now. I think he understands that there's a lot of other things that he can do, and he played really good defense against the Mountaineers as well. He had 8 rebounds on the trip, and so that's one of those hidden things that sometimes doesn't pop out at you because of his position and because he's the leading scorer, that he's willing to do other things. And I think that's really important. And I think that's, again, one of the reasons this team has won 5 in a row. And if they can keep that mentality going, then that's what it's all about. It's a team game, and right now they're playing as a team.
Central Florida, our old friend Johnny Dawkins from back in the Stanford days leading this program now. Do they look a lot from what you've seen, Brian, and from what you've watched? Do they look a lot like those Stanford teams that we saw when he was there?
Well, I think it was a different kind of personnel. I think he's running a lot of the same stuff. He's got 3 really solid guards. He's got a 7'2" kid, a shot blocker in the middle. And so now they got spanked pretty good at home by Kansas last week. And so sometimes you see that. But they've also won. They've beaten Texas A&M and Texas Tech this year, and that tells you, their ability. And last night they got off to a horrible start. They missed their first 10 shots from the field, and they figured out a way to beat Colorado in the end. So, yeah, they, like everybody else, they brought some transfers in, so they got some experience there. And Johnny Dawkins can coach. There's no doubt about that. So it's just another solid team out of the Big 12. And, the Wildcats can't rest on their laurels. They can't say, hey, we're 3-0, we're in first place. You've got to come every night, home or away. And so it's a different challenge in this game coming up on Saturday, but it's a Big 12 game. And I think everybody has to understand that. And I think the Arizona players understand that. They've seen now what Big 12 basketball is all about. And I think they understand that, you've got to play your A game, or at least try to play your A game every night if you want to win.
It's your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Arizona for more than 25 years, chatting with the voice of the Wildcats, Brian Jeffries. All right, Brian, this last road trip, new delicacies. What are 2 or 3 of the best things you ate out there in West Virginia and Cincinnati? Did you try the Skyline Chili?
Absolutely. Had Skyline Chili, I think our second day there, and it was very good. I didn't understand. I think I'd had it years ago on a stopover there, but I didn't understand the whole menu thing and 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, and then of course you get your dog, and do you want so you have to. Everybody was doing both, so you're doing the chili and the dog. And, well, how do you want your dog? And I'm the poor waitress. She looked at me like, you're a rookie, buddy. So it took me a while to figure it out. But, it was, we had some good food there. And so, it's fun learning these new places. Cincinnati, we stayed right downtown. It's a, major metropolitan city. And so that was great. Morgantown, small town. I didn't get to really see Morgantown. The hotel was kind of on the outskirts, and like I said, there was you couldn't go anywhere because of the weather. So hopefully the next time we'll get to see more of the city.
Real quick, Brian, your thoughts. Danny Gonzalez promoted to defensive coordinator today. Joe Salavea coming back to the family to help out on that Arizona football defense.
Yeah, I was kind of rooting for Danny. I remember the first time that I met him this last year. And he's one of those guys where you look in the dictionary under football coach and there's his picture. I mean, he just, and his experience, I just thought, this guy, you could just tell. He lives and breathes football. And so I'm really happy for him. I think it's a great choice. And Joe Salavea, all you have to do is look at his coaching resume now. And, I mean, he was a favorite at Arizona. And there's been several times before when I think there's been a little dance going on, like, hey, could we get him? And things just didn't work out. And so the timing couldn't be better to have him come back. And like I said, it's not just that he played at Arizona. It's what he's done as a coach since he left. That is the impressive thing that stands out. So this is not just bringing back another alumni like the guys that are on the staff already. These are talented coaches, and so I think it's great to have Joe back.
And that's your view from courtside with the voice of the Wildcats, Brian Jeffries.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
If you're suffering from back pain and your physician is giving you a back brace or a pain pill or an injection, and not explain the process of what you have and how to rehabilitate yourself, then there might be something missing. I'm Tom Corey. I'm a physiatrist here at Desert Sky Spine and Pain. If you're looking to find the root cause of your pain, any pain that's limiting your function, limiting the things that you want to do in life, call us at 520-229-2080 or find us on the web at desertskymedicine.com.
The cold Arizona nights are here. Is your furnace ready? For just $59, Rightway is offering a complete system tune-up, ensuring your furnace runs efficiently to keep your home comfortable all season long. Routine maintenance is key to avoiding costly breakdowns. And with over 9,000 5-star Google reviews, you can trust Rightway to get the job done right. Plus, we'll include a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Call Rightway today at 520-640-2665 or visit us at rightwayac.com for your $59 complete system tune-up.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Now that winter is really here, cooler overnight temperatures mean that your tire pressure warning light could be on. In most cases, you solve the problem by simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Check out jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Broadway in Tucson presents the new 2024-2025 season, featuring 6 blockbuster productions, including Mamma Mia and the Southern Arizona premieres of Clue, live on stage, Beetlejuice, Some Like It Hot, the Neil Diamond Musical, A Beautiful Noise, and Shucked. Secure your signature season tickets today and get the best seats at the best prices. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your 2024-2025 season tickets today.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Shot blocked by Uday. Henry got it back to Love. 3 ball straight away. He can't miss.
Just how you drew it up, maybe? Just how you drew it up indeed. Final segment as we get you set for Arizona and Central Florida tonight at McHale Center, a Saturday night game here in southern Arizona. And we were talking earlier in the show about the plus minus, and I wanted to get back to that. Redshirt sophomore Henry Vasar leads Arizona in total plus minus this season when he's on the court. Plus 183 is the number, despite coming off the bench for every single game this season. The last 7 games, Vasar is averaging 9 points, 6 rebounds, while shooting 61% from the floor in 20 minutes per game. Tommy Lloyd was asked this week how much he values the plus-minus stat.
I mean, I don't like totally discount it, but I don't like make it the end-all, be-all. I mean, U5 could be playing right now, okay? He could not do his job on defense, and you could be a -3. And you had nothing to do with it, okay? He could take a really bad shot, and you could be wide open for a layup. You had nothing to do with that. So, like, there's so many of those little things in there. Now, over the course of time, for sure, you can look at it as it's an interesting variable. But I think when you're just looking at it at one-offs or one game or one run, you know, sometimes it's hard.
When you see, like, some of the guys that start, that maybe their numbers aren't as good as some of the ones on the bench, is it a matter of you still want to have those guys as reserves because of that second wave?
I mean, listen, if we're playing better. I just know this. Early in the season, we weren't able to build leads. I think in every one of our last game, I mean, probably all of December and on, we've built leads. We may not have held every lead, but we've built leads. So I'm encouraged where we're going. And I feel like sometimes you just have to put the pieces in the right place, and it doesn't have to come down to, well, this guy's playing good, we're going to start him because that guy didn't play good last game. That doesn't make sense because, you know, you have to have a little bit of certainty there. And you know, I'm not concerned about our lineup right now. You know, I mean that could change over the course of time, you know, but right now I'm not.
He talks about building leads there. Arizona has registered a 10-0 run or better 16 times through 12 games this season. That is tied for 16th most in the country. On the flip side, the Wildcats have allowed a 10-0 run against them just twice this season.
I think one of the biggest issues with plus minus is that you never factor in who else is on the other side of all that. So, Kelvin, I mean, if you're talking about a guy who's the seventh man on the Arizona bench, going against a team with maybe a weaker bench or maybe a weaker front court off the bench, then that plus minus gets a little skewed depending on who's guarding that guy off the bench. Am I wrong?
No, you're totally right, man. And I never put too much into that personally as a coach. I mean, I rarely look at that as an analyst. You know, I try to look at the game more so and figure out what's going on.
Game by game, I don't think it makes such a huge difference. But if you're talking about what DK said earlier about Henry Vasar and how his plus minus over the course of his last 10 games or whatever is 140, I mean, you can piece together periods of time over a stretch, over a series of 10 games, and that can measure your impact. But again, if Henry is going up against the second string guys, Kelvin, every single night out, then yeah, I mean, but
So basically give Waka some points of that before wearing down the guys that he gets to come in and dominate later.
And when Tommy was talking about when he pointed out the five of us in the room, that was me, Brian Peterson, Bruce Pasco, Aaron from Channel 9, and then I think there was another scrub in the room. That the scrub in the room was probably the one that would have screwed up our plus minuses there, because you know that wouldn't have been me, Bruce, or Brian or Aaron that would have messed up everybody else's plus minus. But he does have a point that one guy can kind of skew those numbers, or one player can kind of skew those numbers as you look at those, depending on which five you have on the floor. Arizona, we mentioned, not ranked for the first time in a long time. How's Tommy Lloyd and his team dealing with that?
And listen, we're at where we're at, and I don't even look at the rankings when we're ranked. And I told these guys I barely look at the stats. I'm going off feel and where we're at, and obviously I'm checking things here and there. But the rankings, I don't make too much of them. But it is different. Not being in the top 25. We feel like we're a top 10 program, but you know what? Here's the deal: you got to earn it. There's nothing given in this deal. We lost some close games. And so we got to play better. And so, challenge accepted.
Do you know why Arizona fans are unused to the Arizona Wildcats not being ranked, DK? Because they've been ranked in 47% of every AP poll in the history of the sport. There's only 6 teams who've been ranked 50% or more. Arizona is 7th all time in appearances in the AP poll.
Wow. That's big time. That's big time for sure when you talk about the history of this program. 5 games in a win, or 5 games in a row, I should say, won. What has been the key to that, Toby Awaka?
I think it's just been ball movement. I think our offense has been flowing pretty well, getting the ball to spin to both sides, and then our guards have been doing a great job of hitting the short rolls, and then we as bigs have been, finding the next open pass. And then I think defensively we've just been anchoring on, guarding the ball, defending our yard, and taking pride in that.
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
I'll give you one more stat real quick here. Arizona, we were talking about Arizona's bench. 32 points per game coming from the bench. That ranks 22nd in the country right now, the Arizona Wildcats. Keys to the game tonight. Kelvin, what do you think on this one tonight for Arizona and Central Florida?
I think our half-court defense is going to be important. I think these guys like to score in the half-court. I mean, in the full court as well, but in the half-court, love to get to the basket. They got guys that can break you down and hit the three-point line. So I think our half-court defense is going to be very important. Also, covering the three-point line, I think that's going to be huge. I think they're going to launch a bunch of those threes, forcing our guys to come out to play to open up that basket. And I think scoring in the paint, because, I think they're going to take away fast breaks. So getting paint touches, getting scores in the paint where it's opening up offensive rebounds for our big, I think is going to be huge in this game. I think we need about 45 in this game right here. I mean, we really need points in the paint.
I'd like to see Arizona dominate this game at the offensive boards. That was one thing that Kansas did to kind of knock UCF out was they got a bunch of offensive rebounds and jacked up their second chance points. And I think that could be key in this game. If you could get that number into double digits, you're going to be looking good tonight. You cannot, again, I've been harping on the lazy passing. And again, this is a team that you said, defensive team, that's kind of their stalwart. They can take away the basketball. Darius Johnson, I mentioned, is my pest of the game. And if you're sloppy with the basketball and let them get going the other way, because again, they'd like to run too, just like Arizona. So sloppy passing, turnovers, that could be something that could be an Achilles heel today for Arizona and keep Central Florida in this ball game. So don't do that. And again, I keep saying you got to get solid performance out of Caleb Love, and I definitely want to see him. We've seen obviously 2 games on the road that they didn't necessarily need that to win, but I don't want this to be a thing that prolongs itself in terms of Caleb Love. So I think Caleb Love getting back to having a solid game, whether it doesn't necessarily have to be 20 points, but I certainly don't want him shooting 30%. Continuing to shoot 30%. So I'd like to see Caleb Love shoot for over 45% in this game, regardless of how many shots he takes.
Yeah, for me, I think it starts with taking care of the ball versus pressure. I think not only you got to take care of the ball, cut your turnovers down, less than 12, maybe 15 turnovers today, but make them pay. If they're going to trap you full court, there's a lot of quality guards on this Arizona Wildcats team that can make you pay by getting the ball, pressing the ball up via the pass especially, and beating that press by dunks. And that's what I'd like to see. So also perimeter D, I think UCF's top 3 scorers are averaging 46 points per game, guys. That's 58% of their scoring comes from Hall, Ivy, Curry, and Johnson. Hold those guys down. I think the Arizona defense on the perimeter has really improved over the course of this 5-game winning streak. Really like to see them hold those guys down, maybe under 40, 35 points, and that's a key to a win. And number 3, I think if they do see a zone, just what Carter Bryant said, get the ball to the elbow. Do not settle for contested 3-point shots. Get the ball to the elbow, make the defense collapse, kick the ball to the corners. That's how you beat that zone, and that's a key to Arizona beating UCF tonight.
Like it.
Wildcats fans, that's our keys to the game. Brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different. The foundation of a great college basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature.
Starting lineups for tonight's game for your Arizona Wildcats. Jaden Bradley at one guard, 6'3", 200-pounder out of Rochester, New York, by way of Alabama, averaging 12 points this season, 53 assists in 14 games. That's almost 4, a little over 4 per. Caleb Love, 6'4", fifth-year guard out of St. Louis, Missouri, by way of North Carolina, 16 points and 4 rebounds this season for Caleb. The other guard in the 3-guard play, Anthony Del Orso, 6'6", out of Melbourne, Australia, by way of Campbell, averaging 9 points this season. Trey Townsend at one forward, 6'6", fifth-year forward out of Oakland University, 10 points and 4 rebounds for Trey Townsend. Toby Waka, 6'8", junior guard out of Hyde Park, New York, by way of Tennessee, and Toby averaging 5 points and 5 rebounds on the season. Those are your starting lineups for tonight's game. Arizona taking on Central Florida. That is going to wrap up our show for tonight. Thanks to everybody who was a part of it. J.W. Madden, as well as Kelvin Efon. My name is David Kelly. Coming up next, Arizona Wildcats, Central Florida Knights. Tip-off at 8 o'clock from McHale Center. Brian Jeffries and Ryan Hansen getting set to take it over. We'll talk to you after the game. Bear down, Arizona.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, the Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
The Window Depot is more than a window store. The Window Depot is a one-stop warehouse with everything you need for your complete home remodel. Shop the aisles of pre-built cabinets in a variety of colors, granite and quartz countertops, sinks, skylights, and hardware to complete your project. Need a custom order? We can help. Our designers offer free design services and can special order everything you need for your kitchen or bathroom remodel today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Now that winter is really here, cooler overnight temperatures mean that your tire pressure warning light could be on. In most cases, you solve the problem by simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Check out jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
KZUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona basketball. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. College basketball at its best.
That's down by 1. Top of the key, deep 3 is good, and the Cats are on top.
Wildcat basketball is on the air. The leaders of the